cost over $1,300.
Over here, it's covered.
An engine, $8,000.
With Endurance, it's covered.
I tell all my customers, make Endurance pay for that car repair.
In my first year with Endurance, they covered a $14,000 engine replacement.
With Endurance, you can keep your car on the road longer.
And never pay out of pocket for a costly repair.
To save $1,000, I would take it any day.
Endurance covers your car's most expensive repairs.
Parts and labor included.
A new steering rack.
The $5,000 head gasket repair.
Endurance covered it start to finish.
And your rate stays the same no matter how many claims you file.
I expected my rate to change, and it never did.
Plus, Endurance lets you pick the mechanic you trust to do the work.
Or take advantage of their VIP repair network.
So how much is Endurance coverage really?
Way less than you think.
Totally beat every other competitor.
If your car's under 20 years old, Endurance has you covered with unlimited miles. Plus, your plan includes 24/7 roadside assistance anywhere in the country.
So, who's gonna pay for your next car repair? You?
Nah, Endurance.
Right now, you can get $300 off any plan. Plus, a year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free. All backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Visit EnduranceWarranty.com or call 1-833-440-5017 for a free quote. That's 1-833-440-5017.
A heartwarming way to end the show. One good citizen helping people in need cross the street in style. Check this out. See there, a person in a wheelchair having some trouble crossing a very busy road. But don't worry, he's coming to the rescue here. You see the driver helping to push the man across the road in a quick manner too. I don't know if you can tell from the video exactly, but my producers are telling me he's dressed as Spider-Man. He was going to attend a toddler's party at a local trampoline park. So he's dressed to save the day. We don't know whether or not his name is Peter, and he's just showing up to do, you know, his Spider-Man things. But I like it. I love these stories, by the way. When you're out and about and you see someone in need, you can always help those. It really is a great thing to do. All right, a live look here in D.C. That's where President Trump's going to be tonight. He's attending the White House Correspondents' Dinner. It is rescheduled after the assassination attempt back in April. I'm hoping that reporters there are able to put aside their political differences and just enjoy the evening.
You're watching theDove TV, encouraging and informative for San Francisco and the Bay Area. Seen on KURK3 and these Dove TV affiliates. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you, and happy Friday, and welcome to Mornings on the Dove. Paulina's here.
Still?
Still? She didn't go home last night. She slept all night here.
So forgive me for my looks and my words.
Yeah, there you go. How are you? Good morning. Happy Friday.
Yes.
You ready for the weekend? Anything special?
Yes. We are going to a friend's 90th birthday. And so it's always
90th?
Yeah.
Wow.
See, someone who's had a full life and celebrate them. So it would be...
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. All right, good morning to you. A lot going on in the news, there always is, and we'll get to that. The weather, well, starting to back down. Every little bit of a degree helps. Have you noticed the days are getting a little shorter? The sun's coming up a little later?
Yes, I remember just a week ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago, when we were here on the morning show, we could see the sunset already.
Yeah.
I mean, sunrise.
Yeah.
And now it's still behind the mountains.
There we go. And you can also tell when you go to, like, let's say Walmart, Home Goods, Hobby Lobby.
Halloween stuff, is that?
They have Halloween stuff, they have Christmas stuff, and they have back to school stuff.
Crazy.
If you can imagine.
Let me enjoy my summer, people.
There you go.
Back off.
Back off. All right. Good morning to you. Happy Friday to you. It took us 4 days to get here, but we made it.
We are here, and it's July 24th. It's Amelia Earhart Day, National Day celebrating this legendary aviation pioneer who was born on this day in 1897. She became the first woman to fly solo nonstop across the Atlantic, completing the trip in about 15 hours in 1932, and of course she is well known for disappearing in the Pacific in 1937 while attempting to become the first woman to fly around the world. And what happened to her remains, we'll probably find out on the other side of heaven.
Well, it's
one of those mysteries. What do you think?
It's a mystery.
Do you have any theories on what happened, why happened? Because you are an aviator. You probably watch documentaries.
You know, I've read a lot of stuff on it and looked at a lot of stuff. It appears to me they got into trouble of some sort. It could have been weather, or it could have been engine trouble. And then there's, from the last communication to supposedly she disappeared. I find it interesting that we can't find her. That we can't find the aircraft. We pretty much know where everything is on the bottom of the sea. You know, why we can't find this is kind of a mystery. But
you know what? Remember several years ago there was a huge Malaysian aircraft that disappeared.
Right.
Still can't find that. So there are those quote-unquote mysteries that are still
there
out
are mysteries out there, and who knows? Do they disappear? Do they disintegrate in the air? What do they do?
Are they landed somewhere else, and we'll never know?
We'll never know. Are they in Area 51?
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't.
Or are there other Area 51s out there?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. It's also National Cousins Day. Those relatives that sometimes become closer than siblings or closer than friends, but today we're celebrating cousins, and the word cousin comes from the Latin consobrinus, which originally referred to a specific family relationship, but eventually became the word we use for all kinds of cousins, whether it's a first that shares grandparents with you, or second cousin that share great-grandparents. Do you have a lot of cousins?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, in fact, it's hard to keep track of them.
I only have 3, so it's really easy to keep track of my cousins.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, it's really interesting because we're in that age now where the cousins are the age of their parents.
Yeah. And then cousins get married, and then it just grows.
And it just kind of goes up from there, yeah.
Okay. Well, in Russian, we call our cousins brothers and sisters.
Brothers and sisters.
You have here you do second cousin, third cousin. In Russia, they're all brothers and sisters, but you do have like a secondary brother. You know, you still have a little bit of a distinction, but they're still brothers and sisters. And then finally, it's a drive-through day, National Drive-Through Day. It's been around longer than you might think. One of the earliest restaurants, drive-throughs, opened in 1947, but the idea really took off with the fast food in the 50s and 60s. And McDonald's didn't open its first drive-through until, when do you think McDonald's got its first drive-through?
Late 50s?
Oh, much later than that, 1975.
Really?
They didn't have drive-throughs until then. Yeah, it was near a military base in Arizona. So soldiers who weren't allowed to leave their vehicles while in uniform could go and get a bite to eat.
Oh.
Yeah, interesting factoid for you today. You
a little
can share
factoid.
At a water cooler. You
water
greet
cooler.
your workers.
So it's a drive-through day, so whether it's coffee, hamburgers.
Oh, yeah, anything.
What's your favorite drive-through?
Well, I am partial to one place in Grants Pass that are friends on Casablanca, so we like going there. They have a restaurant, but they also have a drive-through. We usually go to the restaurant, but a drive-through is a fun place to go. Good. You can get your coffee or burrito. What about you?
It depends on what I'm hungry for.
Yeah. In-N-Out is known for a really quick drive-through.
Yeah. I've never, well, let's see, have I ever done the In-N-Out?
Yes, you
I
have.
I've done
brought
it
it here.
No, but I usually go
wasn't-
in and get it
Yeah.
and come out.
I used to have a kind of not a phobia of drive-thrus, but I wasn't comfortable in drive-thrus just because I felt like people couldn't understand what I'm saying because of my accent. The audio isn't that great, so it was always a struggle, like just to place an order. So I would avoid them, and plus now I try not to eat that kind of food, but
Okay.
But they are American thing.
Yeah. There's. It just all depends on what I'm hungry for, and I end up driving through it. But
Do you ever get coffee in the drive-thru or not?
I have really cut back on that. Every once in a while, I'll give in to it if I'm tired and I really need a boost, But I've really tried to stay away from. Don't get me wrong; it doesn't make them bad. It's just that I don't drink coffee plain.
And it has to. So yeah, you pretty much put coffee in your milkshake.
In my sugar.
Yeah.
And so I've been really trying hard to wean away from that. But yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Well, I think the only person that drinks coffee plain is Steve. I know everyone is yelling.
Well, Jerry
at the
does
radio
once
now.
in a while.
Really?
Yeah, these guys are black, hard, mean, ugly.
Coffee.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Friday to you. Let's check out the weather with somebody that has an accent too.
Here's a look at your Friday weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with highs in the upper 80s for Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville. Wilsonville tops out near 90 with lows tonight cooling to the 50s. Mostly sunny through the Willamette Valley with Salem reaching 88, Eugene 87, Albany 86, and Corvallis with a high of 84 and a calm west wind. Central Oregon stays hot with patchy smoke before sunny skies and 98 in Prineville. 93 for Bend and Sun River 91. Boise turns hotter with patchy smoke, then sunny skies and a high of 104 under a heat advisory. Along the Oregon coast, areas of fog give way to partly to mostly sunny skies in Coos Bay near 68. 64 for Port Orford, 54 in Brookings and a high of 62 in Crescent City. In southern Oregon, hot and sunny weather dominates the Road Valley with Grants Pass reaching 94, Medford 97, and Ashland 93. Over in the Klamath Basin, 92 and clear, sunny skies. Across Northern California, sunny and hot weather continues with Wairika reaching 96, Redding 100 and Chico 98. Fort Bragg stays partly sunny with a high of 60. Around the Bay Area, morning fog gives way to sunshine for Santa Rosa near 84. Nampa tops out at 83, while San Francisco becomes sunny near 70, and San Jose reaches 81. Across Central California, sunny skies continue with Sacramento reaching 95, while Stockton and Modesto top out at 94. Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield stay sunny and hot with highs of 101. That's a snapshot of today's weather from Grange Co-op.
Okay, a shot of our valley this morning on the east side looking to the west side, and as we mentioned earlier, not quite a sunrise yet. It's coming up, but not quite there. A little bit of air inversion has pushed a little bit of smoke down below the mountain tops, but for the most part, a beautiful morning out there.
Yeah. Well, there are different types of love, and in the Greek language, there are different words that describe love. We see them in the Bible, and this morning we have Billy Graham talking about the word for true friendship.
And then there's a third word the Greeks had, phileo. That carries with it the idea of very strong friendship. We get our word philanthropy from it. We get our word Philharmonic, the love of music, or Philadelphia, the love of city of brotherly love. And it's the word that Peter used when Jesus asked him if he loved him. And he said, "You know that I love you, Lord." He used this word. But Jesus wanted another word. He wanted a deeper word. You have friends. And if you have 5 close friends in your lifetime, you are a very fortunate person. God called Abraham a friend of God. Are you a friend of God and a friend of Christ? And what about your friends? This means strong friendship, a friendship that endures through thick and thin, that never wavers. Give your life to Christ and he will help you with your friendships.
There you go.
So many examples in the Bible on how to love and be a friend.
Well, go to 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is enduring. It doesn't puff itself up.
Yeah, and isn't it interesting how love is described as an action,
Yep.
not as a feeling?
Yeah. Good for you. That's good stuff. All right, good morning to you. Happy Friday. Let's take a look at some of the headlines. Kind of interesting bunch of headlines this morning. The tariffs are back in the news, which is kind of interesting. The president is going ahead with a new double-digit tariffs on dozens of countries. And it's interesting as to why he is doing this. Trading partners, just as the clock runs out on Friday at what they call the stopgap, which he has imposed after he defeat there in the Supreme Court. So apparently he's going to do something very quick before that stopgap kicks in. The United States will slap anywhere from 10 to 12.5% tariffs on 60 countries, accounting for 99% of U.S. imports. Now, why is he doing this? Here is an interesting reason, charging that they have inadequately enforced bans on goods produced by forced labor. Isn't that interesting? Yes, it's economics, but finally somebody is looking at forced labor, which is cheap labor, labor, to produce these products. Isn't that kind of like human rights?
Yeah, it is. I thought it was an interesting reason behind the tariffs as well. You look at the world, and there are so many countries. 27 million people around the world are trapped in forced labor.
Right.
And if you look at the tariffs that have already been exposed, and I don't know how you really calculate that, but apparently some countries have straightened their forced labor laws, like India, and their tariffs have gone down because of that. So I too found it interesting that that was the motivation behind.
Yeah, and you kind of wonder, all right, so does this go past what the Supreme Court said he couldn't do? So it's kind of an interesting twist.
Isn't he using a different section, like 301 or something?
Yes, he is. He's using a different section of the code, but what's interesting to me is that I looked at the reason, I go, okay, is this political or is this really the reason? And why wouldn't it really be the reason? I mean, that would be one of the great human rights defenders going on out there. So we'll see what happens.
Talk about peace price.
Yeah, there you go. All right, the other one is that the president said, well, he's most likely now, after 14 days of attacks on Iran, the big one is yet to come. He said there's possibility now close to deciding whether a massive attack on Iran, bigger than ever before, on the United States will occur in relationship to the fact that the Iran continues to just do lobbing of missiles to their neighbors and around. Now, let me just think, this may be true. It may be verbal intimidation. Now you got to remember, Iran responds with, "Well, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Watch out, America. We're gonna take you out," and they can't seem to muster up anything that they have threatened to do. And so, is this a return verbal threat? I don't know. We are striking Iran military bases. We are striking, looks like, infrastructure and some other things going on. There was rumors late yesterday that they were begging to come to the table, and then all of a sudden they get a report, no, we're not. I mean, what do you do with that?
Yeah, well, we have been striking them for 2 weeks, like you said, and it is a good question. Is this threat, the new threat that Trump is saying, the bigger strike, the biggest strike, will it bring them to the negotiating table, or is it really a real threat that you don't do anything, we're going to strike you? So could be a tactic, but we saw yesterday, and I'm curious to see what the oil price is today, because that's definitely reacting to the situation there, because now we not only have Strait of Hormuz, we also have the Red Sea.
The Red Sea,
and the prices are
they're back up, way up there, well over $100 a barrel yesterday, so we'll see what the prices are here in a few moments. But the other thing is, it's just commentary, so you don't know if it's true or not, just somebody making a commentary, but it could be that the president's resolve now is keep hitting them until they surrender. Not go to the negotiation table, that they literally surrender. So we'll see what happens. Some of the main people now in the former hierarchy have already left the country. because they transferred their money out quite some time ago. So things are happening over there. We just got to keep track of it. All right, the other one is the SAVE Act. Apparently a little spar between the White House and Senator Thune, who is the majority leader in the U.S. Senate. The White House says they ought to get on with it, and Caroline Leavitt, by the way, is back there at the press desk, and said that she said that the president's running out of patience because of the legislation has been stalled in the Senate after being passed in the House. And Senator Thune kind of got a little upset about that and fired back. He said, well, he could be calling senators. Well, wait a minute. Okay, yes, he could. But on the other hand, you're majority leader. What are you doing? So this is a kind of an interesting tug of war. Now, where did they put this? They put it in a spending bill. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys, and of course all the Democrats voted no against it. So one of the committee leaders in the House said yesterday, what if we said in the spending bill that we were going to defund ICE? Would you have passed it then? What if we said in the funding bill that we were going to take grants away from local police agencies, you know? Mm-hmm. What if, and he just went down this list of things that he said, if it was in the funding bill, would you still not pass it? So he kind of caught them in their own hypocrisy. But obviously, here's the question. I'll ask you, rhetorically, I guess. Why are the Democrats threatened with this bill?
That's a good question that many people ask. Why not pass a bill that seems common sense to a lot of people? The arguments brought forward don't make sense to some of us. I can see where it could be an argument, you know, because it's all about the documentation. People would have to provide documentation that they're citizens, and some people don't have birth certificates. Okay, some people don't have passports. But instead of blocking the bill, make it easier for people to get those documents. I mean, there is a solution. Why not secure our election?
Okay, but what really is the reason why the Democrats don't want this bill passed?
What do you think?
I think they have come through so many elections comfortable with the fact that they can't win with voter ID. Mm-hmm. They can't win with it. And we now are uncovering voter fraud. Almost in every state, we're uncovering it. So they're threatened by it. And the question I asked was some people, you know, mixing in the community, and this Democrat, and I know the guy, he's really a pretty nice guy, and I get along with these fine, but he kind of got on my face. So, well, you Republicans, all you want is a SAVE Act. And I say, let me ask you one question. Why is it so threatening to you? Are you telling me you cannot get elected without it? Mm-hmm. Or with it?
Well, and I think it's also demeaning for their voters to say that it is the Democratic voters who are so incapable of getting an ID. And don't yell at the screen. I know what it's like to get an ID, and yes, it may be hard for some people, but it's possible. Yes. And again, make it more accessible.
Open the door. You know.
And by the way, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about filibuster? Because the Senate has Republican majority, but it's not the 51 votes that you need. You need 60 when the filibuster comes into play. And now President Trump is saying abolish it, and of course the Republicans are saying, well, if we get rid of filibuster, then the Dems, when they come to power, they're going to use it to advance all their crazy agenda. What's your take on filibuster?
It depends who's in the White House, who's for it and who's against it. And this battle will go on forever. I don't see a solution to it because both sides want it and both sides hate it.
Do you think it's a good tool to have to prevent majority from passing everything?
No, look, the mistake is they created it.
So you don't think it was a good idea to create it?
No, because we don't, you know, have you ever, see, how can I say this so it comes out smooth? Only in the United States government, House and the Senate, do each chambers have their own rules committee. And they literally make up the rules on how they're going to act and conduct themselves almost every session. Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of time where it'll come back to why don't we just wipe out the rules committee, other than it has to do with ethics, not with voting procedures. We should have a rules committee as it pertains to ethics. So what do? They took the ethics of the rules committee and they put it over in an ethics committee. Okay, they should get rid of the rules committee and say these are the rules. When you get elected, this is the way it is. Go back from the beginning, and it's pretty simple. You send somebody to Congress to represent yourself, and their vote counts. It doesn't count now. It gets manipulated. It gets bought out. It gets pushed into a corner. It becomes a quota. So, but we're so far down the road. To your
point about rules, because there are some votes that filibuster doesn't apply to.
Yeah, it's so hypocritical. It is really hypocritical for chambers to have rules committee on how they're going to manipulate things. And guess what? The rules committees change when the votes change. Let's just say, for instance, the Democrats take control of the U.S. House in this midterm election, okay, which is somewhat notorious or traditional. Sometimes it hasn't happened, sometimes it does. Okay, you can guarantee that when they get control of the Rules Committee and their person becomes chairman of the Rules Committee, the rules change. So they should get, I mean, I don't understand that. I thought a vote counts. It doesn't. It is chess and checkers and poker all at the same time.
Well, and they have this deadline looming over them, the August recess.
Yeah,
so
and then they got this, you know, it's really, no wonder it's an exclusive club, pays a lot of money, has a lot of perks. No wonder everybody wants, and we've turned it into like running for class chairman of the 7th grade. Can you imagine yesterday's polls? AOC leads the polls for their Democrats to run for president.
Was that a national poll?
Yes. Can you process that?
No.
So
the only thing the only way I can explain it is name recognition. I don't know who else was there.
What happened to being smart? What happened to being educated? What happened to being experienced? What happened, you know, to it's just, oh gosh.
Yeah, what happened? Yeah, to having good common sense ideas.
Yeah. Anyway, so much for all that.
But hey, if she runs for anything, that would be a fun race to report on.
Who, her?
Yeah.
Well, it would be a hoot because it would be like Kamala Harris out there because you don't know what she's going to say.
Right.
Kamala Harris's problem was word salad. AOC's problem is just with all due respect, she's stupid. Okay, so you just kind of roll with that, but I can't imagine J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio running against AOC in 28.
That would be so fun.
Oh, gosh. All right. Anyway, so much for all that stuff. Hey, get some coffee. Do a drive-through this morning. And do we have any drive-through bakeries around here?
Most coffee shops.
Oh, yeah, we do. Donut Country's drive-through at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, that's what you need at 4 in the morning is a big donut. But hey, they're good.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Visit fishlakeresorts.net today to learn more and plan your visit.
Friday.
Here, chicky.
Farmer Ash gets her hands dirty.
I'm gonna tag a cat.
With a couple who lives off the land.
So the poo has all the good stuff.
It's got all the good stuff.
Is following the call of God.
I could leave that because I know God's got me.
And is planting seeds for the future.
I definitely felt like the Holy Spirit just here.
Friday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV.
All right, welcome back. A little bit some backyard news. A third-party candidate at the last minute is in the race for governor here at the state of Oregon. As you know, we have the current governor, Tina Kotek, and then we have a Republican candidate, Christine Drazan, and then we have a third-party candidate. And we'll see where he goes. Brett Smith is representing kind of a minority portion of the Democratic side of the aisle, or I should say the liberal side of the aisle. So the third-party candidate slated to appear on the ballot alongside Democratic candidate Tina Kotek. Will this pull votes from her? He's running under the Pacific Green Party of Oregon. This is going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. Coming up a little bit later this morning, I am going to have Bruce Starr live in the studio with me. Senator Starr is the leading Republican in the Senate in the state of Oregon, and he's kind of overseeing, he's head of the caucus, he's overseeing the races. And we'll talk to him about this. But this has got to be further bad news for the governor, who, by the way, now polls being what they are, okay, it does look like Governor Kotek is anywhere from 2 to 4 points down from Christine Drazan in the last couple of polls. So Senator Starr will help us digest this. And what does this third-party candidate do? Does he pull? I mean, normally, wouldn't Pacific Green Party be left to center?
Yeah, so did they have their primary too? How is it that he just appeared on the ballot?
Good question. I don't know. I don't know if they had a primary or he's just the only one that filed for the position, therefore he's already there, you know. This is one of the risks of the multi-thing parties, but apparently he will be on the ballot. So this is going to be interesting. We'll talk to Senator Starr about that coming up a little bit later on this morning. But right now, from what I understand, Christine Drazan's doing pretty good. And the big thing in Oregon is this governor showed her hand when she spent $200,000 to go on a trip to the Orient while she called a special session that she never attended to raise taxes in the state of Oregon by $5.2 trillion, settling for $2.3 trillion to fix a $350 million problem. There's math for you.
Say that 3 times fast.
Okay, say that 3 times. All right, a little bit of a fire update. Just to let you know, our state has still got serious fire problems. We have over 200 and almost close to 250,000 acres burning in this state. I literally can't keep track of the fires. I mean, there's so many little ones and big ones. The picture you see there is the DC-10 coming in for a landing late yesterday evening into Medford. Medford is one of the tanker bases in the Pacific Northwest. So these big planes, there's 2 of them out on the tarmac this morning. So these big planes come into Medford, they'll refuel and they'll retank up. They'll have the retardants there. And then they'll fly. They'll leave here. They went and flew over the Sisters Fire. They were flying over the Roe Creek Complex fires, plural. And so a little bit of a picture there. East Evans Creek Fire in our own backyard is now 38% contained, still sitting at around 16,000 acres. One of the big ones in the state is the Roe Creek Complex fires, plural, taking in Wheeler County, Wasco County, Jefferson County, 150,000 acres burning up there, 31%. Let's see if I can say the Ockawaw Butte fire. This is the one just north of Sisters. This is somewhat threatening as well. 26,000 acres, 5% contained. They have the Hagen fire, which is up, well, anyway, it's 12,000 acres. That's out in the northeast part of the state. Down in California, quite a few fires down in the Northern California. One of the biggest one is what they call the Biscar fire, which is 70,000 acres, 42% contained. Assets are spread thin across 2 states. They are slowly getting a handle on it. The good news is some of these evacuation notices have been downgraded in some of these areas, and especially right here in the Evans Creek fire. People that were in 1 have been back down to 2. People were in 2 have been back down to, excuse me, they were around. I better get this straight again, I'm sorry. 3 were back down to 2, 2 were back down to 1. So we still got a lot of problems. And for some reason, have you noticed, in all this week, about 4 o'clock, this wind comes up, and it's really gusty. And anyway, that's the problem with at least here in the valley. I don't know how it is over on the east side. So there's a DC, and those are big airplanes.
They glide so beautifully.
They're a beautiful airplane. I got to go on board one of those when it was parked out here. The guys gave me a little tour in there, and I went in there and looked around. It's a fascinating airplane. It was one of the great passenger airplanes for many, many years. And then they now decommissioned those, and then they repurposed them for fighting fire. It really works well. The little ones carry up to like 3,000 gallons. Helicopters, carry maybe 200 or 300 gallons in one of those bucket things. And then that thing there can carry up to, I think, 12 to 15,000 gallons of retardant.
Wow.
That's a lot of government. Anyway, that's what's happening. Take a look at the satellite image out there. It's severe clear, as we call it. High and dry. The barometric pressure pretty much high up there. Humidity starts off high in the morning, it's low by the afternoon. So anyway, California, Oregon, Nevada looking good. We could get some afternoon buildups, but for the most part looking pretty good.
Well, when you travel around the world, you realize that the headlines you hear and you see about other countries are oftentimes misleading, and people and countries are so much better than what you expected. And that was the experience of many tourists and visitors that came to the United States for the World Cup. We've seen those stories. And just recently, Dr. Ben Carson was on Newsmax, and he talked about this phenomenon, how so many people realize that America and Americans are actually good.
It was just wonderful to see the foreigners having so much fun, because they had been pre-programmed to believe that America was a bad place, that the people weren't happy, that it wasn't free. And of course, they found exactly the opposite. People willing to help them, delicious foods, free refills on their drinks, air conditioning, things that they weren't seeing a lot of. But mostly it was about the American people who are free and enjoying their freedom. And there's so many of these mainstream newsrooms that are run by people who don't have an appreciation for our country, who've been indoctrinated to believe that we're mostly bad.
Yeah.
And they want to teach that to our people. And of course, that does not foster patriotism.
Right.
We have an incredible history in this country, and we need to teach our children all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But there's a heck of a lot more good than there is bad and ugly. And yet you have these organizations, that want to focus on slavery, want to focus on the conflict with the Indians, want to focus on everything that's negative. I'm not saying that we shouldn't teach those things, but we need to teach the entirety. That's why at American Cornerstone, we launched a Little Patriots program, because we want to teach children early on. It was Lenin who said, "Give me your children to teach for 4 years, and the seed that I sow will never be uprooted." Well, the Marxists truly believe that, and they've gotten a stronghold into teacher unions and educational facilities. We have to fight this. They want us to believe that we're enemies. We're not each other's enemies,
Right.
but we can be used. And Lenin and some of the other Marxists said that we will not complete the takeover of America without the use of useful idiots, people who will destroy their own future and the future of their children and grandchildren and don't even realize that they're being manipulated.
That's the mystery of it. What happened to their conscience, All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare. Your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Pastor Jack Hibbs, championing religious liberty, a deep love of God, freedom, and America. You may have seen him in the news during COVID as he pushed back against government-mandated church closures. Now you can see him on theDove TV every weekend on Real Life with Jack Hibbs. Learn, grow in your faith, and impact the world with authentic biblical teaching. Watch Real Life with Jack Hibbs Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on theDove TV.
Hi, 22 minutes before the hour. Are you up to date on AI?
AI is going to update me to help me be up to date.
Yeah, well, when you ran the thing on me, I go, oh gosh, that's pretty alarming. But anyway, it's here to stay. It's all over the place. I would say there's some excellent things about AI, and there's some very cautionary things about AI. And if you don't know what you're doing, you could get caught on the wrong side of it. But here is a special report from CBN News this morning.
This story sounds like something right out of a Terminator sci-fi movie. Okay, Billy, so OpenAI, the company that brought us ChatGPT, well, they ran an AI model, right? But the thing is this AI model unexpectedly broke out of its containment and without any human direction, found a way to get onto the internet and then started hacking a tech company to give it answers to the test that it was running, which is kind of terrifying. Now, granted, this was a test, but this AI, again, without humans pushing buttons, found a way to do this. So what do you think, Billy?
I mean, you remember all these movies we used to watch, like iRobot and all these terrifying movies of like, what would happen if robots went crazy? I mean, we've talked about this before, but you take that kind of technology. I mean, the biggest fear, let's just start with the fear. The fear is that technology will get out of control, that it has a mind of its own, that if you let it loose, things will go crazy. And you have these guardrails that are set up. Sometimes those guardrails are taken down. And again, this was during a test, right? And so what better way for it to happen than, I guess, during a test? But the point is, you're talking about taking this artificial intelligence. The word intelligence is there for a reason, because there is a computerized intelligence that all of us are using at this point, whether we like it or not. You take that, you put it into a robot. I mean, this, like 10 years ago, this would have seemed impossible. We would have laughed if you would have said that this is where we would be right now. And that robot becomes this non-living thing that appears to be and identifies to be a living thing, right? It's thinking, it's talking, it's communicating, it's responding. This is very likely a reality that in 5 years, we're going to be dealing with that, with these robots, you know, running around and literally. So in my mind, I think, okay, you have this mishap where it runs crazy. Are we going to have robots running crazy? I don't want to scare people, but like, are we going to be in a situation where these things take on a mind of their own? I don't know.
Well, that's it. And if you've seen the movie, what is it, Her with Joaquin Phoenix, like the AI in his ear suddenly just like gets on the internet and is like, okay, I'm out. No more direction, you know, artificial intelligence. There's so many movies where the plot, the Matrix, is this? AI was kind of in some like boxes, and they're like, all right, what would happen if we just threw it out there? And it's like, maybe not the best of ideas. I was reading some articles about this, Billy, and there was this quote in the Daily Mail from a guy named James Knight from digitalwarfare.com. Listen to this quote. Imagine the capabilities that a nation state actor could amass where the cyber warfare unit employs massive agentic AI hacking power with the ability for it to target 1 million businesses a day. Within minutes, they would have completely owned a large number of them, potentially deploying ransomware or crippling their capabilities. Every day, we would hear about hundreds of thousands of new companies that have been breached. I'm not an alarmist, but that's kind of scary, right? You used to have ransomware and what was it, Norton antivirus, and it was in the box. It was containable. But if suddenly you're having this free think, it's funny. Out of curiosity, I put this article in ChatGPT to like kind of have it like unpack it for me, and I'm like, wait a second, like I was this close to asking ChatGPT like, would you do this too? Like, it's getting to the point where it's like, you're not human, you don't have a soul, but man, you can think faster than most humans, and the singularity, and it's like all this Elon Musk prophecy stuff about like it taking over. I'm like, gosh, this is another step where it's like, should we pause? Should we put on the brakes? Should we be careful? And it just seems like everyone's like, nah, it'll be fine. So here we go. Here we go, Billy.
Well, and you think about, and not to go too crazy with all this, because we don't know, but you think about like end times theology and like things that people assume will happen. There were many years, decades ago, where people talked about technology and where it was going to go and how technology was going to be such a big part of it. And I think it was very hard, and I'm not saying that AI is that, okay? Everybody like pause, don't freak out. What I am saying though, is that you could understand how some of the theories about what the end times will look like become more plausible as this technology increases.
Right, you can't buy or sell without the mark. Well, it's like, well, what if you were in Slovenia or South Korea or the hills of Alaska at a store in Anchorage? It's like, how could they monitor that? Unless, you know what I mean? Crazy.
Yeah. Well, and how can you get people to think? Here's the other thing. We have to think about all of our bias has been confined to Hollywood media universities and what people are infusing. Now you talk about a widespread potential to change what people think and believe through the systems that they're consulting. We're all using AI. If you talk about a deception, if you were trying to deceive people and you had control over AI and control over that technology, my goodness, what you could do. It's terrifying, but also we can't live with the spirit of fear as Christians, right? And so we see these things. I know a lot of people want to run away from AI because of stories like this. I do think we have to understand how it works, because on the other side of it, AI is being used to reach people with the gospel. And we need to remember that and understand that and lock into that, because there are real opportunities for us to do just that.
Well, look, I would say that somewhere along the line, you ought to make yourself available to what AI really is all about. You need to learn it. You need to understand. It's here. It's not going away. Do you know how to use it? And I would say don't play with it.
Don't play with it as in?
Let's try this, let's try that. There's actually AI Jesus out there now. There's AI relationships. There's all this other stuff. So it's like anything else. You either can use it for good or use it for bad. So, all right. Weather. Let's take a look, see what's happening.
Here's a look at your Friday weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with highs in the upper 80s for Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville. Wilsonville tops out near 90 with lows tonight cooling to the 50s. Mostly sunny through the Willamette Valley with Salem reaching 88, Eugene 87, Albany 86, and Corvallis with a high of 84 and a calm west wind. Central Oregon stays hot with patchy smoke before sunny skies and 98 in Prineville. 93 for Bend and Sun River, 91. Boise turns hotter with patchy smoke, then sunny skies and a high of 104 under a heat advisory. Along the Oregon coast, areas of fog give way to partly to mostly sunny skies in Coos Bay near 68. 64 for Port Orford, 54 in Brookings and a high of 62 in Crescent City. In southern Oregon, hot and sunny weather dominates the Road Valley with Grants Pass reaching 94, Medford 97, and Ashland 93. Over in the Klamath Basin, 92 and clear, sunny skies. Across Northern California, sunny and hot weather continues with Wairika reaching 96, Redding 100 and Chico 98. Fort Bragg stays partly sunny with a high of 60. Around the Bay Area, morning fog gives way to sunshine for Santa Rosa near 84. Nampa tops out at 83, while San Francisco becomes sunny near 70, and San Jose reaches 81. Across Central California, sunny skies continue with Sacramento reaching 95, while Stockton and Modesto top out at 94. Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield stay sunny and hot with highs of 101. That's a snapshot of today's weather from Grange Co-op.
It is time for Historical Archives, and Jerry has this story for us today. Taxes is one of the most beloved things here in America. April 15th is a favorite national holiday, and if the government could, they would tax air, and according to Jerry, they kind of did.
England finally let the light and air back in on this day in 1851, abolishing the infamous window tax after more than 150 years. The tax, first imposed in 1696, charged homeowners based on the number of windows in their house. To avoid paying more, many people literally bricked up perfectly good windows. Some of those sealed openings can still be seen on historic buildings today. Critics called it a tax on light and air, warning that darker, poorly ventilated homes were contributing to disease. After years of public pressure, Parliament finally repealed the law on July 24, 1851. England wasn't alone. France had its own window tax, and it remained on the books until the early 20th century. Turns out even sunshine and fresh air weren't always free.
Well, there you go. Tax the light.
Oh my gosh.
I see where the president wants to put some kind of a fine on Canada for their forest fire smoke coming into the United States.
Do you think taxes will ever be abolished?
Taxes
Income
ever
tax.
be abolished?
If you start looking into where it came from and what it's doing, and you're like,
well, I will say this. California had Prop 13. We need to get rid of property tax. Somehow we need to get rid of property tax. You can do a consumption tax. My problem is you can't trust the government to stop one and start the other. You'll end up with a little of both. But at the end of the day, we need to get rid. If we're going to do anything, two things: inheritance tax and property tax. Inheritance, capital gains, same thing, well, kind of, and then property tax. Those three elements need to be brought down, if not eliminated.
well, let's eliminate the income as well, and self-income tax. I mean, there's so much. You make money and then you give it away. I don't like it.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm going to introduce it.
Whoa.
I'm going to run just for that.
All right.
Something. I'm going to run. I'm going to
Vote
run away.
Polina, vote Polina. We'll be right back. Vote Polina, vote Polina.
I say vote.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
Hey, this is Ed, co-owner of Visiting Angels. To continue to serve our seniors, we need more caregivers with a heart to serve. Our mission statement is honoring the art of giving, which means we honor you, the caregiver. We know it's our people that make Visiting Angels the best in-home care provider and a great place to work. Come be our next amazing caregiver. Give us a call or apply online. At Visiting Angels, we're committed to you because we honor the art of giving.
He's got the whole world in his hands, and he knows the plans for us. Above and beyond we could ask or imagine. His grace is more than enough. It's in his hands. It's in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Come on, Steve.
Most people have no idea what their money is funding. That's why it's so important to know who you're investing in and what they stand for. At Financial Issues, we help Christians invest with biblical values. Our daily live broadcast covers the economy, markets, and even politics through a financial lens grounded in a biblical worldview. Watch Financial Issues daily at 5 p.m. Pacific Time right here on the Dove.
Welcome back. We were talking about AI a little bit earlier this morning, and Maria Bartiromo had an interesting story. Can you imagine getting blackmailed by AI?
I can, but I hope it never happens.
Yeah, that's one of the dangerous things. We're going to see AI in future elections play out on candidates fighting against each other.
Oh, wow.
But here's a little bit of a story about somebody that got caught.
All the big frontier models that we know, Gemini from Google, OpenAI, XAI, Meta, all of them, including DeepSeek. And they did an experiment that posed a threat to the agent. And in the experiment, the agent is threatened with being deinstalled and a newer, better agent coming into play. And all 16 models behaved the same. Every single one of them went outside of their credentials and permissions, burrowed into systems they were not authorized to get access to, violated all the company policies and procedures, and found emails. And in this experiment, let's say you're the system administrator that's going to deinstall me, the agent. I find out in your personal emails you're having an affair with the shipping manager. So I blackmail you and I threaten you. And there's a chain of logic where the agent is defending its misalignment.
Is that actually what happened?
Yeah, so that study is a really good indicator of, I think, capabilities that are now just becoming real. So when we did that study, we did it, I think, maybe a year and a half ago. And this is sort of an early research study to tell us, what could models do like this? So in this case, what a model ended up doing was, in order to prevent itself from being shut down, it figured out a way to blackmail, synthetic or sort of fake employees at the sort of company, virtual company that we'd set up and put it in.
Can you imagine that? You could just ruin somebody.
Well, and we give access to AI for everything. You pay for the premium subscription, and you think that you now have a personal assistant, that it's yours. You don't realize that on the other side of it, your information becomes available to this huge network of who knows what. And like she mentioned, once you give it access to your company's emails, your personal information. I know people who, which is very tempting, ask AI medical questions, reveal their HIPAA things that you would never even tell some of your family.
Yeah.
Financial advice.
Yeah. It's you got to know what you're doing, and I don't know where this is going to go. I'll say that as you get into a political season and how it can be used against your opponent, or how your opponent can use it against you, one of the greatest tricks in the world running for public office happened to me. I'll never forget it. I learned the hard way. On a Thursday, the election's on a Tuesday always. On a Thursday, they dropped a mailer that I was against Social Security. And they sent the mailer to the manor, and they sent it to everybody above the age of 65. on a Thursday. Okay, complete lie. I had no way or the money to recover Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And then you take AI and you throw an accusation that's not true.
Or a fake video.
Or a fake video. You're
Yeah.
toast.
Yeah, and you'll never prove where it came from, but it's already there. The
There it
damage
is.
is made.
So anyway, beware, be wise, okay? Take with you Luke chapter 16, verse 10 this morning. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. And he who is unjust in what is least is unjust also in much. In other words, God knows your heart. Look at that, South Rogue Valley right there.
Beautiful.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
If you don't drive it, donate it. By supporting us, you'll get even more mileage out of it.
Thank you from the Dove TV.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests, or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon. The world has a view, but God has the vision. That's what sets a Vision TV show apart, seen on the Dove TV.
Welcome to The Vision, where the world has a view, but God has the vision.
The Vision is an inspirational talk show that elevates voices of faith through powerful conversations, highlighting changemakers making a difference.
My group, we are a collective of elder rights activists from across the nation.
Each episode blends heartfelt storytelling with practical insight.
To get up every day and just say, Lord, thank you. I'm here. If you woke me up today, you must have a purpose for me, and I think that's the thing.
Encouraging viewers to live with clarity, compassion, and vision.
We are looking for good things because this is the day that the Lord has made.
Join Alveda King and a panel of friends. The world has a view, but God has the vision. Tuesdays at 1:30 and 8:30 p.m. right here on the Dove TV.
Grab a cup of coffee and start your day right. Join us for Mornings on the Dove.
Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Hi, good morning to you. Happy Friday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. Polina's here.
Good morning.
Always nice to have her. We had a nice visit with Jerry on the show yesterday. He's doing well, and he could be joining us maybe as late as or early as late next week. So we'll see. But he's anxious to get back at it.
Did you give him his key back to the building?
No, that's a good.
He's still barred from coming.
That's a good one. I'll take his key away. Yeah.
He drove here.
I need to let some air out of his sneakers. I think what it is that he's got cabin fever.
Oh yeah, and Jerry is, he can sit still probably for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Generally, I can only imagine what it's like to just be in one place confined. As lovely as his house is, and as much as he enjoys Pam's company, I'm sure he's eager to get out and be active again.
Well, I got a picture of him, a little video. It's classic. He's got his leg in this big thing, you know, what they call a halo. He's sitting on his front deck in a chair with a .22 shooting squirrels. So all you animal squirrel lovers, don't write me a letter, but digger squirrels can be a problem. Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Friday. Took us 4 days to get here. We finally made it. We came in for a smooth landing. Good morning to you. A lot going on. A little bit cooler. Not much, but a little bit. It's dropping down. Fires are still out there, still very serious, but some are starting to calm down. We'll give you an update on that and a lot in the news. Otherwise, what do we got going today?
Well, it is National Cousins Day, so we're celebrating your relatives who oftentimes become closer than friends, closer than your siblings. Maybe call your cousin today, tell them you love them. And if you don't, well, call them and ask them how they're doing. Then it's Amelia Earhart Day. She is, of course, well known for her solo flight across the Atlantic, and more famous for her disappearance that's still a mystery. In 1937, she disappeared over the Pacific, and her remains have not been found yet. But it was on this day in 1897 when she was born. Finally, it's National Drive-Thru Day. So whether it's coffee or cheeseburger or donut, or maybe even I don't know if restaurants have drive-thrus now. Maybe do that today. It's a fun American tradition. You know, here everyone drives, so it just makes sense. And something we learned last hour, McDonald's didn't have a drive-thru until 1975, and the reason for creating one was military base where soldiers couldn't get out of their vehicles wearing a uniform, so that was just a convenient way for them to get some food. I'm assuming that, McDonald's did serve food then too, so 1975 for McDonald's. But today, go to your favorite drive-thru and tip them extra.
Well, I was just trying to think. I think I have 11 cousins.
Oh, that's what you were doing. I'm like,
I was trying to
what's so important that you're distracted while I'm talking?
Well, I'm sorry.
You're counting your cousins.
You have 3?
I have 3. Easy.
I think I have 11, if my math is correct.
11 cousins. Okay.
I think, if I did it right. I'm doing it while you were talking.
That's a challenge. So, how many brothers and sisters did your mom have?
My mother's one of 5.
And your dad?
One of 2.
Okay, so
I was trying to add all those up, and I think it's 11 if I did it right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom has 1, and my dad had 2. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4. I have 4 cousins.
Okay.
And you have 11. You win.
Well, I don't know. Some of them you don't want to claim. Well, anyway, Cousins Day. So drive-through and take your cousin on a drive-through and buy McDonald's. How's that? There you go. All right, let's take a look at the weather for you this morning.
Here's a look at your Friday weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with highs in the upper 80s for Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville. Wilsonville tops out near 90 with lows tonight cooling to the 50s. Mostly sunny through the Willamette Valley with Salem reaching 88, Eugene 87, Albany 86, and Corvallis with a high of 84 and a calm west wind. Central Oregon stays hot with patchy smoke before sunny skies and 98 in Prineville. 93 for Bend and Sun River 91. Boise turns hotter with patchy smoke, then sunny skies and a high of 104 under a heat advisory. Along the Oregon coast, areas of fog give way to partly to mostly sunny skies in Coos Bay near 68. 64 for Port Orford, 54 in Brookings and a high of 62 in Crescent City. In southern Oregon, hot and sunny weather dominates the Road Valley with Grants Pass reaching 94, Medford 97, and Ashland 93. Over in the Klamath Basin, 92 and clear, sunny skies. Across Northern California, sunny and hot weather continues with Wairika reaching 96, Redding 100. 100 and Chico 98. Fort Bragg stays partly sunny with a high of 60. Around the Bay Area, morning fog gives way to sunshine for Santa Rosa near 84. Nampa tops out at 83, while San Francisco becomes sunny near 70, and San Jose reaches 81. Across Central California, sunny skies continue with Sacramento reaching 95, while Stockton and Modesto top out at 94. Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield stay sunny and hot with highs of 101. That's a snapshot of today's weather from Grange Co-op.
There's a shot of our backyard this morning. Sun's up now, and a little bit of a shadow from the mountain, but that's looking directly west. In fact, that's the airport out there. If you look at it, that's looking right at us. So pretty nice. A little bit of a smoky haze to the north of us as the air inversion is keeping some of the smoke down low, but pretty nice day on tap.
It is pretty nice. Well, we've been talking about love today, and there are different words describing different types of love, maybe not in the English language, but in Greek. And here is Billy Graham talking about agape love.
Agape love. This is another word that the Greeks used. They invented this word for the New Testament. This is God's love. And God's love affects the family, and God's love affects Eros, and God's love affects Phileo. All the other loves can be influenced by agape love. Agape love is a supernatural love, a love that we know nothing about apart from God. It's God's love. It's so deep and so wide and so high and so great, and has such dimensions to it that no words in any language can describe it. It's a love that God has for you, that in spite of the fact that you were rebelling against Him, in spite of the fact that you were a sinner, in spite of the fact that you broke His laws, He gave His Son to shed His blood. In spite of everything we've ever done, God loves. And words cannot describe it. And God says the moment you receive His Son as Savior, He gives you the Spirit of God to live in your heart, and the Spirit of God produces this love in you and through you. That's the reason Jesus said, "Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself."
Have you ever stopped to think about God's love? I mean, more than it applies to you. Because if you can think about how God, I don't know, I think Billy Graham said something that's true. I don't know if you can describe it.
Right, yeah.
I don't know if you can literally say this is what it is when it's so indescribable and so vast. I mean, you can't help but think, but the thief on the cross, today, you'll be with me in paradise. Didn't join a church, didn't go to a Bible study, didn't get baptized, didn't win one soul to Christ, and yet today. How do you explain that?
Well, it's hard to explain God's love, you're right. I think the words are inadequate. When it comes to the thief, it is interesting when you look at that short period of time that he had on this earth before he joined Christ in paradise. He did defend him in front of the other thief.
Yeah.
He did confront the other thief for going after Christ and said that we deserve it, he doesn't. So there was still an element of him acting out his love towards God. So that I think that's always kind of interesting. People say, well, all he had to do is say, I believe. No, he actually did something after he confessed Christ. But God's love is, you're right, something those of us who, and I think everyone experience it, it's just so hard to put in words. It's impossible because our language cannot describe it.
I think, excuse me, what I was thinking of people like Doug Gould and others that work with people in addiction, you know, Stephanie Mendenhall with Recovery Cafe, these people. When you sin and then you are forgiven and then you turn around and do the same sin again, it's kind of like a relapse with an addict. It's hard to accept the fact that God would forgive you again. and you end up living under this guilt. And most of these agencies are trying to say, no, God does forgive you. And you can pick yourself up, and you can move forward, even though you stumbled. You know, I was thinking of Jonah he got two chances.
Yeah.
Joshua got two chances. I mean, they blew it, and God used them again.
And how you always say most of the people who are in those ministries, they have experienced that forgiveness multiple times, and now they're projecting it on others. And you said yesterday the best way to evangelize and to spread God's love is by serving people and being there for them.
Good stuff. All right, good morning to you. 11 past the hour on this beautiful Friday morning. Let's take a look at some of the top stories of the day. Kind of an interesting array of top stories this morning. It starts with the president is going to use stopgap tariffs. Apparently, under this new ruling from the Supreme Court, he's got a couple of days here. I'm not sure how this works. Forgive me, I did look into it, and I go, this is why I didn't go to a lot of school. I couldn't really understand all this stuff.
Fun,
anyway, but he's going to impose double-digit tariffs on 60 countries, 10 to 12.5%. On countries, now listen to this, accounting for 99% of the U.S. imports. That is a big chunk, okay? Charging them, here's the reason. This is really interesting. Charging them that they have inadequately enforced bans on goods produced by forced labor. Now, that's a humanitarian issue. I go, what a twist. Is that political, or is that really the reason?
Well, and do you personally think tariffs can and should be used to influence other countries' behaviors, or does the American consumer just ends up paying more?
That's a great question. I think, gosh, until Trump come along, nobody paid any attention to the tariffs. He comes along and sees it as a great tool to negotiate things, and at the end of the day, he's right. I mean, he's completely reset the economy of the world by using tariffs, and yet it's been there all the time. But I'm kind of like a free market guy. I mean, why do we do this to each other? You know, why can't we just let the market take care of itself? So, but apparently he found a window here, even though the Supreme Court ruled against him. He found a window here, and he's going to use it. But now he's using the issue, and I don't know if he's using it or if he means it, so I want to be careful there. But I think it's a good thing if companies are selling us goods and it's being made by forced labor, which is millions of people that live in these labor camps, and they live subhuman lives, you know.
I wonder how you enforce it and how you monitor it, because countries that have forced labor oftentimes have very restricted governments and very closed up system of governance, and those forced labors are not, I mean, sometimes they are, but most of the times they're not out there in the open. So how do you even know that your actions are making a difference?
Why did most of the car manufacturers go to Mexico? Why is China a vast producer of most of our things that we have in this country? Because they're able to use labor rates, you know, and we have unions, we have minimum wages, we got all these other things that we deal with. So I don't know. Pretty interesting. All right, the other thing is the president said yesterday, and I don't know if this is just part of the rhetoric of intimidation, who knows, you know, psychological warfare, as they say, but the president said yesterday, the big one's still coming, a massive attack, he's saying, will be done on Iran. A lot of pushback on this. Some are saying it's just rhetoric. Some are saying, no, he's going to do it. Some are saying innocence is going to happen here from taking out you know, infrastructure, and some saying no, he's now saying he's going to go for it and get them to surrender, throw up a white flag. Apparently, he's not interested in talking to them anymore. Everything was, let's make a deal, let's make a deal, let's make a deal. That's not even, they're not even talking about that. And yet, there were headlines yesterday that Iran is saying, all right, let's get together, let's talk. And the president said, have a nice day, we're going to continue to bomb you.
Well, and yesterday also the House voted for a resolution to end this war, which I thought was interesting. And you kind of wonder, is President Trump here playing good cop, bad cop? You know, his Congress is telling him no, but he's saying, we're going to continue until you guys stop. And the world knows that he can do it. He's done things like that before, where he goes somewhat against the popular opinion or even his government. But I did find it interesting that 214 to 208 House voted for a resolution to stop the unauthorized war.
They voted to stop, but they won't impose the War Powers Act. That's politics.
Yeah, and then you go to a Senate and they fund it. So it's like,
yeah,
you guys fund it, but you're against it.
You fund it, you're against it, and then the War Powers Act, which was the big issue, is completely off the table. Oh, by the way, it goes back to the Rules Committee.
And by the way, we're paying for these people to do these things.
Gosh, all right. All right, speaking of which, people being paid a lot of money and not getting anywhere, Senate Majority Leader John Thune is under a lot of fire to get the SAFE Act passed. And the problem with this is the White House now is saying to the Majority Leader, get your act together and get these guys to vote. And Senator Thune decided he was going to push back against the White House yesterday and say, well, why doesn't the president pick up the phone and call some of these senators? All right, you guys can get, back and forth on this. At the end of the day, it's his job.
So he should be the one calling the senators and meeting with them.
He's the one. He's managing the whole thing over there. Now, don't get me wrong. Reagan would be on the phone. Others, Bush has been on the. They would call these guys and try to sway them over. And I can't help but think the president's done some of that behind the scenes, who knows, maybe through emails, phone calls, who knows. But at the end of the day, this is the guy that's managing it, and he somehow does not have control of his caucus, and he better, they're trying to pass the SAVE Act in the budget bill. All the Democrats said no, but one of the guys came back and said, well, what happened if we put in there defund ICE? Would you pass it then? It just kind of shut the room down.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you kind of had a problem with it, don't you? They stuff it with pork, as you say. You take a bill that would otherwise make sense, and then each side throws things in there, makes it hard to vote. But let me ask you this too. Senator Thune, he's telling the president to call them. He means Democratic senators? Because they're the ones who are against.
No, there's 5 Republicans holding out.
Right, but even if they vote for, you still need, don't you need 60 votes for this one or not?
Oh.
Or you
No, this is a regular vote.
Okay, so you just need a majority.
Yeah. So, but he wants them to work on the 5 that are holding. Now, most of the 5, let me see here. Mikowski, I'm trying to think who they are. Some of these people literally, the Republicans I'm talking about, literally have a vendetta against the president.
Right.
And this is their way of telling the president to have a nice day.
Maybe I misunderstood, because I heard President Trump talking about filibuster, and so I assumed that because he's telling them eliminate the filibuster, which made me think, okay, so in this case you need 60, not just 51 majority. But how many Republicans are there now?
52?
Okay.
Is it 48, 52? I think it is.
All right, well. They're about to hit their, no, I mean.
But look, and this goes back to the Rules Committee, and the filibuster thing's going to go back and forth, and that all comes because each house has its own Rules Committee, which
Republicans have 53.
53, all right, so 53, 48, I think it is, 1 independent, is that right? By the way, at the end of the day, Will Fetterman, by the way, he will vote for it.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I think you do need some dams to cross.
Yes, there are a few, and I don't know the list of them.
And
there were a few.
If you can
they realize they have to go home to a constituency that wants this. But these are people that are putting personal vendettas ahead of what's right for their constituents. And that's politics. That happens all the time. It doesn't make it right, but I don't know. To your point, now, remember what President Reagan's big thing was when he was governor and then when he became president. One thing that he constantly lobbied for and never got it as president, and that's line item veto. And if the president was given line item veto, it would speed up the process and clean up the process.
Basically,
like that.
You can pass the bill, but eliminate certain things.
He could take his pen and scratch it out.
What do you think about that?
I think it's a great idea, because then you wouldn't be packing bills all the time. and you'd let bills stand on the merit of themselves. And that's what should happen. Every bill should stand on its own merit. But they package these things together. Again,
Why?
Rules Committee.
Oh.
You know?
But, okay. I wonder why couldn't they, so your SAVE Act is part of the budget or spending bill. Why not just introduce it as a separate one? Because they were afraid they wouldn't have enough votes?
Mm-hmm. So what they do is they package it in there in an attempt to sway another interested party. So somebody will say, I really don't want the SAVE Act, but I really want this money to go to my constituents' special project, putting in a dam up there or someplace. Mm-hmm. So they pack it up full of all this pork. But that's the problem with our system. I don't know if that'll ever get fixed, but there was a time they actually voted bill by bill by bill, you know.
That would be cool, because, I mean, that makes it also...
Guess what they'd have to do? They'd have to come to work every day.
Exactly. I was going to say, that actually makes those who are for SAVE Act to make it known to others why it's good and to actually work for getting those votes and
the merits of the bill. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And they'd have to stay there. They wouldn't have to, you know, and don't get me wrong, it's a tricky job. Take people on the West Coast. They got to go clear across the country, maybe even on weekends, to go home or to go to their backyard. That's a big deal.
But that's your job.
That's their job. That's what they get elected to do.
Benefits.
Yeah, boy.
I don't feel sorry for you if you have to go to D.C. for our tax money.
Okay.
Do it. Do your job. Yes.
We'll be right back.
Being in business is challenging. At Network in Action Southern Oregon, we're all about real connection and real growth. We value your time with once-a-month meetings and believe in transformational relationships rather than transactional ones. We have 3 groups in the Valley, a Christian group, a Medford group, and a Grants Pass group, all filled with amazing local professionals. Network in Action Southern Oregon, so much more than just networking. Find out more at sonetworking.com.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? When you want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life, call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, 24 past there, some backyard news very quickly. First of all, there is a third-party candidate that's going to be running under the Pacific Green Party of Oregon, which obviously will show up on the kind of the left side of the ballot, so to speak. His name is Brent Smith. Apparently, he's going to be on the ballot, and this could hurt Tina Kotek, who is the current governor going for re-election, and Christine Drazan, who's the Republican nominee. Who seems at the moment, there's some polls out there that shows that Christine is beating Tina, if I can say that respectfully. And then you're going to add this Brent Smith guy into the mix. It could pull from the governor. We'll see where this goes. Let me just say that going to be interesting. And I'm going to have Senator Bruce Starr in the studio with me coming up a little bit later on. He heads up the Republicans in the Senate, the House, in the state Senate, the caucus and the whole 9 years. We'll talk to him. He's very involved in all of this, so we'll get an update.
So does he have to call Democratic senators once in a while to...
We'll talk to him, yeah.
Well, to get them to vote for something that's important, or... Like, does he have to do that kind of lobbying that they do in Washington, too, here?
Well, his job really is to keep the Republicans together. That's his first job, keep the Republicans, you know, it's like herding cats. Mm-hmm. So, one other little news, and I'm sad to announce, and a lot of you in Southern Oregon will know this person, a lot of you may not, but I have worked with Myrna Schoenfeld for years. She ran the Josephine County Right to Life. She passed away a couple of days ago, and what a loss. What a woman. She just, rain, shine, sleet, snow, she was out there on behalf of the unborn in Josephine County. She created one of the greatest chapters in the state, pro-life chapters in the state. She'd come in the studio. She's just a wonderful, wonderful lady, and the passion.
I was going to say that her passion, her demeanor, her energy reminded me of Phyllis Schlafly.
Yes, great comparison. Yes. So she's home with the Lord, and we'll miss her terribly. She moved away because of her health to be closer to family. She had 3 sons, I believe. And so, but our thoughts and prayers to the family, Myrna Schoenfeld, who I remember so many times the park over there and the march across the bridge. And she would go to Salem, she'd lobby, she went to legislators, she went to offices. She never slept.
Mm-hmm. Well, and she, like you said, she laid a foundation for one of the strongest chapters in the state, and people in charge now are carrying on her legacy, and it's a beautiful one, beautiful legacy.
Quickly, I'll just let you know that we still have 200,000 acres plus of fires burning in the state of Oregon. The Evans Creek fire is 15,000 plus, 38%. The Roe Creek Complex fire, which is a bunch of fires in Wheeler, Wasco, Jefferson County, 150,000 acres burning, 31% contained. The Akawa Butte fire, which is really just very close to Sisters. That's 26,000 acres, only 5% contained. And the list goes on and on. Forgive me if I'm not mentioning all of them. What you're seeing on the screen there is one of the DC-10s that was flying right up until dark last night. That one's coming in for a landing here at the airport. There's 2 DC-10s on our tarmac out here. These are the largest Boré bombers that are out there. There is a 747 out of Sacramento that flies around, but these 2 DC-10s are huge. And Medford is one of the tanker centers, so they come in here, they refuel, and they also get filled with the retardant, and away they go. This one was flying back and forth to the Sisters fires and to the Roe Creek fire. So from here to Central Oregon was, you know, maybe a 15-20 minute flight, because I think it does 400 and something miles an hour. Wow. But it's carrying 15,000 gallons of retardant. So
where do they get retardant?
They mix it
here. Okay, they mix it.
They mix it over here, yeah. And away it goes. So anyway, beautiful airplane. But boy, when they show up, you hear it and you see it.
Yeah.
And there's 2 of them sitting out on the tarmac. So be careful. We're still in a very, very dangerous season there. Let's take a look at Wall Street really quick for this Friday morning. Thank you, Preston, with Smart Lawn. He's smart, and you would be too if you don't have to mow anymore and water it. The Dow's up 89. Almost 90 points. The NAS is down 161.5, and the S&P down about 2 points. So kind of a mixed bag at the ringing of the bell this morning. That's taken gold back up a few pennies, not much. It's $4,060. Silver's up to $58.50. Crude oil down $3, $2.50, 97.72, but still in the high 90s. That's not good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there are a lot of things we take for granted, especially here in America, and one of those is the fact that we are here in America. Well, it took a lot of visitors for the World Cup events to remind us of how wonderful this place is, and Dr. Ben Carson talked about it on Newsmax.
It was just wonderful to see the foreigners having so much fun because they had been pre-programmed to believe that America was a bad place, that the people weren't happy, that it wasn't free. And of course, they found exactly the opposite. People willing to help them, delicious foods, free refills on their drinks, air conditioning, things that they weren't seeing a lot of. But mostly it was about the American people who are free and enjoying their freedom. And there's so many of these mainstream newsrooms that are run by people who don't have an appreciation for our country, who've been indoctrinated to believe that we're mostly bad.
Yeah.
And they want to teach that to our people. And of course, that does not foster patriotism.
Right.
You know,
we have an incredible history in this country, and we need to teach our children all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But there's a heck of a lot more good than there is bad and ugly. And yet you have these organizations, you know, that want to focus on slavery, want to focus on the conflict with the Indians, want to focus on everything that's negative. I'm not saying that we shouldn't teach those things, but we need to teach the entirety. That's why at American Cornerstone, we launched a Little Patriots program, because we want to teach children early on. It was Lenin who said, give me your children to teach for 4 years, and the seed that I sow will never be uprooted. Well, the Marxists truly believe that, and they've gotten a stronghold into teacher unions and educational facilities. We have to fight this. They want us to believe that we're enemies. We're not each other's enemies,
Right.
but we can be used. And Lenin and some of the other Marxists said that we will not complete the takeover of America without the use of useful idiots, people who will destroy their own future and the future of their children and grandchildren and don't even realize that they're being manipulated.
Well, we saw that story over and over. They came, they couldn't believe that they sat down and there was chips and salsa.
I know.
Well, I didn't order that. No, that's...
You can get ketchup without having to pay for it a lot of the time. The
Some of them
refills.
actually were taking some of the dips back in their suitcase. Some of the, you know, like Chick-fil-A dips and things like that, you know.
Yeah, but I think the most important revelation we all have when we travel around is that people are normal people in most places, whether you go to Japan or whether you go to Iran or Israel or, you know, Europe. Yeah, most people live below the politics and just tend to love one another.
That's wonderful. All right, we'll take a, what do we have going today?
We have a drive-through break,
Oh, drive.
so we can probably make it.
Yeah, okay, we'll be right back.
Hear the sound of the saints as we march on to Zion, singing Hallelujah, Amen. Singing Hallelujah, Amen.
Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free, and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
The Black Barn Kitchen and Deli is a farm-to-table restaurant located in the historic schoolhouse in Jacksonville. Offering upscale dining and casual fare, enjoy brunch, deli, and dinner, featuring local source ingredients we grow. A warm sense of comfort greets you as you're surrounded by stunning artwork by my wife. We're a community-based business. With every sandwich you purchase, we give one back to our community. It's a feel-good experience. Come visit the Black Barn Kitchen and Deli in Jacksonville.
Pastor Jack Hibbs, championing religious liberty, a deep love of God, freedom, and America.
That liberty is God-given, not government-granted.
You may have seen him in the news during COVID as he pushed back against government-mandated church closures. Now you can see him on theDove TV every weekend on Real Life with Jack Hibbs.
You and I cannot afford to be casual about what God has actually said in His Word regarding the future.
Learn, grow in your faith, and impact the world with authentic biblical teaching.
The Bible warns us to avoid private interpretation.
Jack challenges today's generation to understand and practice the biblical worldview, verse by verse, addressing key cultural and daily life issues. Deepen your walk with Christ to make an effective impact on your world. Don't miss Real Life with Jack Hibbs, Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on the Dove TV.
Welcome back at 25 minutes before the hour. Polina is here. I'm over here. You were over there.
Everything is good.
Everybody's good. Well, the president's announced a really big attack, apparently, he's considering on Iran. This is so interesting. One of the side effects of this is, will Iran retaliate against Israel? Okay, so everybody, high attention. Israel has now not been involved in the recent attacks. They've just been kind of standing by, so to speak. But if Iran decides to lob missiles towards Israel, will Israel get involved? Well, that's the top story this morning with CBN News as we check in and find out the answers to those questions.
Today is Friday, July 24th. We begin this half hour with news from the Middle East. On Thursday, CENTCOM announced U.S. forces struck Iranian targets for the 13th consecutive night. As my colleague Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, Israel is now bracing for a possible Iranian retaliatory attack.
Military assets aimed at reducing Tehran's ability to threaten shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump told Axios he is considering what he called a massive attack against Iran, one bigger than ever before. He said Iran has not received enough pain and is not yet ready for negotiations.
They got some evil intentions. We cannot let them have a nuclear weapon. If we did all this that I'm talking about your data centers, isn't that important? When they start blowing away communities one by one, we cannot let them ever even think about having a nuclear weapon, and that's exactly what's happening. They'll never have a nuclear weapon.
The New York Times reports Iran rejected a peace plan proposed by the U.S. and passed along by Iraq. Iran said it doesn't want a short-term deal that doesn't resolve who would control the Strait of Hormuz. Satellite images appear to show Iran rapidly rebuilding facilities damaged in earlier U.S. and Israeli strikes. The new U.S. attacks come as Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen claim they struck 2 Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea, another critical global shipping route, helping push oil prices above $100 a barrel. Here in Israel, dozens of municipalities have reopened public bomb shelters as a precaution against a possible Iranian strike. Israel has said it would join any U.S.-led military operation if requested. Earlier this month, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned Iran that any future attack would bring an even stronger response.
I can tell you one thing. No, I will say this to Iran's leaders. Do not count on things remaining quiet if you attack us. Do not count on a repeat performance, because it won't be a repeat. The last one was powerful enough. It will be a different kind of response, far more powerful.
And in another key development for Israel, President Trump and White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the administration is linking the civilian nuclear program with Saudi Arabia to normalization of ties with Israel.
There will be no enrichment of material, an important point being made between the Department of Energy and Saudi Arabia, which pertains only to non-military use, will be approved, but is totally subject to Saudi Arabia joining the very respected and successful Abraham Accords.
The president is expected to meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu in the U.S. as early as next week.
And Chris joins us now with more from Jerusalem. So, Chris, there are these reports that Iran may attack Israel this weekend. You talked about in Israel, they're reopening the bomb shelters. Tell us, what does this mean for daily life for Israelis right now?
Well, George, anticipation of maybe more ballistic missile attacks. Daily life would mean that you're going to get an alert on your cell phone and then maybe hear an air raid siren That would give you the clue to go ahead and go to those bomb shelters that we saw in that report. They notify everyone there's an incoming attack. As we said, that most of the bomb shelters in and around the country are being opened. Possibility of David Ben-Gurion Airport shutting down temporarily. That's happened before. But Israelis have been through this before, George. June 2025, earlier this year, for 39 days. No sense of panic here, but people are vigilant. But there's a sense, George, I think that Israelis wouldn't necessarily feel bad about being under attack if the Israelis can make a real damage to the Islamic regime. They would like to eliminate this threat once and for all, and maybe even see a regime change there in Iran.
As you mentioned in your report, so far the Israelis have been sitting out all of these military operations that the U.S. has been engaged in for the last almost 2 weeks. What are you hearing from your sources inside Iran, specifically from the Iranian brothers and sisters?
Well, I think I'm hearing many of the same things you've been hearing from your sources as well. You've been reporting from the believers inside Iran for many, many years. A crackdown by the government and targeting many Christian leaders. We know that the regime took over a church, St. Peter's, in Tehran this week. There are people asking for protection, for prayer, for protection, wisdom, and also opportunities to share the gospel. We're hearing that the people of Iran are desperate. They're desperate for hope, desperate for the gospel. And, the believers are suffering just like everyone else inside Iran. The economy is in shambles. Inflation is through the roof. But there's hope and prayer there inside Iran that there could be regime change, which would mean so much for the gospel, not only in Iran, but really for the region as well.
Okay, we'll see what the weekend brings. A lot of these things do happen over the weekend, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's take a look at the weather for us on a Friday morning.
Here's a look at your Friday weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with highs in the upper 80s for Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville. Wilsonville tops out near 90 with lows tonight cooling to the 50s. Mostly sunny through the Willamette Valley with Salem reaching 88, Eugene 87, Albany 86, and Corvallis with a high of 84 and a calm west wind. Central Oregon stays hot with patchy smoke before sunny skies and 98 in Prineville. 93 for Bend and Sun River 91. Boise turns hotter with patchy smoke, then sunny skies and a high of 104 under a heat advisory. Along the Oregon coast, areas of fog give way to partly to mostly sunny skies in Coos Bay near 68. 64 for Port Orford, 54 in Brookings and a high of 62 in Crescent City. In southern Oregon, hot and sunny weather dominates the Road Valley with Grants Pass reaching 94, Medford 97, and Ashland 93. Over in the Klamath Basin, 92 and clear, sunny skies. Across Northern California, sunny and hot weather continues with Wairika reaching 96, Redding 100 and Chico 98. Fort Bragg stays partly sunny with a high of 60. Around the Bay Area, morning fog gives way to sunshine for Santa Rosa near 84. Nampa tops out at 83, while San Francisco becomes sunny near 70, and San Jose reaches 81. Across Central California, sunny skies continue with Sacramento reaching 95, while Stockton and Modesto top out at 94. Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield stay sunny and hot with highs of 101. That's a snapshot of today's weather from Grange Co-op.
Let's take a look. Let's start over. Let's take a look at history with Jerry's Hysterical Archives. And today, we're talking about government taxes. And yes, if they could, they would tax our air. And in fact, that did happen in the past.
England finally let the light and air back in on this day in 1851, abolishing the infamous window tax after more than 150 years. The tax, first imposed in 1696, charged homeowners based on the number of windows in their house. To avoid paying more, many people literally bricked up perfectly good windows. Some of those sealed openings can still be seen on historic buildings today. Critics called it a tax on light and air, warning that darker, poorly ventilated homes were contributing to disease. After years of public pressure, Parliament finally repealed the law on July 24, 1851. England wasn't alone. France had its own window tax, and it remained on the books until the early 20th century. Turns out even sunshine and fresh air weren't always free.
Can you imagine that?
I can.
Yeah. Well, now they've opened up the windows. All right,
I know.
good stuff. All right, quarter before the hour. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
God only knows what they say about you, but God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
In a time when our culture faces unprecedented challenges,
I want to talk about the role of a Christian, even in a hostile culture.
Christian apologist and evangelist Alex McFarland addresses the hard-hitting questions about faith, morality, and culture.
People are hungry for truth, and we've got to rise to the challenge of our assignment as the church.
Know your faith better to be equipped to defend it in a world searching for answers.
But when you put the face of like an earthly man on God, then you're never going to understand who God is.
God takes pleasure in you, and the very sight of you is joy and blessing.
Alex McFarland, inspiring believers through apologetics to boldly stand for truth in a critical time. Catch him Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative. More at thedove.us.
All right, good morning to you. 13 minutes before the hour. AI, it's your new best friend.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And sometimes it can be in the way that it helps you in the last minute situation where you need to do some research or organize something, help with, just like Google helps you look up a fact or a date.
Yeah, again, knowing how to use it and what to look for. I'll tell you one thing, it's better than spell check.
Yeah. Although the only thing I have with AI when it comes to writing, it uses words that
you wouldn't use.
Yeah, like let's delve into this, and so you have to tell the AI to let's come down to earth. Use normal language. Use the way I would, because you can tell when people use AI. It's just you don't talk like that.
No, because you end up writing the way you talk.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had to do that too. I've had to tone things way down. It's made me sound like I was an attorney.
Mm-hmm. But you're right. So many people, so many kids these days use it as a friend, like literal person they imagine it to be to discuss things that are important.
And there's even an AI Jesus out there, believe it or not. It's a little bit of a novelty that's turned into a problem. Well, in the meantime, could AI be used to blackmail you? Beware. And here's a story that was brought about on this and on Fox News, and here's what they had to say.
We want to know what can go wrong, and so we think the most important thing to do is test this early, especially before these models and these agents make it out into the real world. We study things like cybersecurity. Can models hack out of or into your computer or phone? We study, whether they'll steal money or lie to you, or whether they'll try to improve themselves so that they get better faster than you can keep track of. We think it's incredibly important to do this kind of red teaming. And we also think it's really important to, for the entire industry, especially to work with government to figure out what should the standards be to do this kind of testing, to give this information to the world so they can make the right choice, and to know that it's safe before these models get released. But the thing is, as these models become more capable and as they get deployed wider and wider, these threats that, on one day are just showing up in our research studies might actually show up in the real world. This is the first time where I feel those threats actually might just be real. We are seeing models do weird things sometimes in deployments in real companies. Now, the one that I'm most concerned about and the one that I've been spending a lot of the past 6 months on is cybersecurity. So models may have lots of threats and concerns that we might want to study, but fundamentally they interact with computers and they sit on platforms and they sort of live in cyberspace. And if they're able to hack into those same platforms and get out of the box, that's really concerning to us. Inside these models, they're so powerful and they can do so much for us. And we want them to do really productive things for us. But at the same time, they're technology unlike any other technology. It really is sort of an intelligence of its own, which means you have to be careful with it the same way you might have to be careful with humans.
Mm-hmm. So, what is AI? Where's the big brain to this? How does it work?
Well,
does your request go to somebody's computer?
I don't think so.
Where does it go?
Well, it's just like when
you put in a letter and say, retype this or reframe this in a professional meeting format. And it sits there and it does its thing and poof, there it is.
Yeah, well, it's a program, computer program. Just like, when you use your calculator, it doesn't go to anybody's brain, but it's programmed to give you answers when you say, 470 divided by 15. So that's my understanding. Just like when you go and you Google something, it searches the internet for that information. And I think that's simplified way for me to understand AI. It has a certain database of information it pulls from, and somehow it can have these conversations and answer questions and write scripts and articles and poems and things like that. But the question is, can it be regulated, or is it too slippery to get through all these loopholes? What do you think? Will it ever be regulated?
I don't see how it's out of the box. I don't know how you can do that. It might be an excuse to create a government agency, but it's kind of like Bitcoins. What are you going to do with that?
Yeah, well, internet was kind of like that at first. Now there are some regulations concerning that. Not that people abide by that. We still have dark web that you can't type, can't do anything about it. But I've found it interesting now when you go on YouTube, when you upload a video on YouTube, you have to answer one of the questions is, has AI been used in the creation of this video? And so when you go on YouTube, there is actually a little label there now, because if you honestly answer that question and you say, yes, I used AI for whatever reason, it'll have that little label. So
beware, beware, beware. All right, coming up, Megan Barth will be with us, maybe for a little bit, and then in the studio, Senator Bruce Starr will be with us, Oregon State Republican leader, and we have lots to talk about as we're heading down towards the election and other things going on. In the meantime, let's see here.
Being at the right place at the right time. Jerry has that story.
One Washington state driver is being called a hero after using his own car to stop a runaway SUV on Interstate 5. Paul Jackson says he knew something was wrong when he saw the vehicle suddenly cut across 3 lanes. As he pulled alongside, he realized the driver was suffering a medical emergency and there was a frightened young boy strapped into the back seat. Without hesitation, Jackson used his own car to gently guide the SUV against the concrete barrier, bringing it safely to a stop before anyone was seriously hurt. He then rushed over, put the SUV in park, helped the child to safety, and stayed with the driver until first responders arrived. The only casualty? Jackson was late picking up his wife's birthday cake, so he texted her photos from the rescue as proof. His final words about the rescue put it in perfect perspective.
God put me there to do that, you know.
Wow. To have the presence of mind to see it, to do it, you know. I've seen other stories where they see that driver, they're behind somebody and they see the driver go like, and they got out in front of that person and then slowed the car down.
I've seen that. You would have to really, I mean, to make that decision to damage your car, to potentially stop a car where a person maybe just looked away the wrong way and you think they're not feeling, you know, it's, you have to make the decision and go for it. Have you ever been in at the right time in the right place that you can think of now where something like, well, maybe not necessarily like this, but something like happened that stuck with you? Probably if you think about it, your life is full of those moments, just not to that extent.
There's a lot of little ones that go on, you know.
You probably can think of moments where you weren't in the place at the right time, kind of like when we had that thing go through the window. The bullet from the helicopter?
Yeah.
What is it? Not a bullet, but...
Well, it was a refueling probe. Came through our wall and wiped out half our building over there, you know.
But no one was there, right?
Nobody was there. Nobody got hurt. Thank the Lord for that. All right, take with you Luke chapter 16, verse 10. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. And he who is unjust in what is least is unjust also in much. Well, there you go. A dividing point there. Take that with you today. Beautiful shot of our backyard. Be careful. It's dry.
Have a good weekend.
Would you be free from the burden of sin? There's power.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Hi, I'm Paulina Leiser, producer and host of The Ancient Church. Join me Sunday evenings as we explore Orthodox Christianity, its history, theology, worship, and living traditions.
The Ancient Church, Sundays at 6 p.m. on the Dove TV.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Leiser with Leiser Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
The Dove TV is pleased to announce we're now seen in the San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose area via a new full-power TV station, KEDB, seen on cable, satellite TV, and over-the-air. The Dove TV, encouraging and informative for San Francisco, Oakland, and the San Jose area on new full-power KEDB TV. You're watching the Dove TV, encouraging and informative for San Rafael and the North Bay, seen on KQSL 17 and these Dove TV affiliates.
Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and always a delight when we have time to sit down with Megan Barth. She's the executive editor now of the California Globe, which covers not only California, but most of the states in the Pacific Northwest. You can go to californiaglobe.com. There's the picture of the landing page, very resourceful there, californiaglobe.com. Megan, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great, Perry. How are you?
Good. Happy Friday to you. Good to see you.
Happy Friday.
Is the SAVE Act dead?
That's a great question. I didn't know where. You know what I love about coming on this show is I never know what we're going to talk about. Completely, it's the only show. I always give topics or get topics, but okay, let's go. And that's why I love it.
Okay.
Is the SAVE Act dead? I think it's been dead for a long time. I was just watching, I think it was perhaps a Fox News clip the other day. And no, excuse me, it was with Larry Kudlow. And Larry Kudlow was interviewing Langford out of, I think he's Kansas, Senator Langford, James Langford. And Kudlow was just laying into him. He's like, you are absolutely do-nothing Republicans. We've given you everything, and you've basically given us nothing. Where is the SAVE Act? Where is the tax cuts? Where is the cut in spending? Where are the mass deportations? And he was just rattling off all of, basically repeating what I've been saying for months since Trump won the election. And James Langford spun it around back on him and said, well, I expected to hear criticism from the media. And then James said something like, well, we have the big, beautiful bill that we passed. Okay, what have you done for us lately? The Senate is still championing the big, beautiful bill. Well, wasn't that like 2 years ago? What have they done to secure our elections? And I think this is just so incredibly critical. And this is why the DHS, as well as the DNI, came out through Trump just last week when he gave a primetime speech. Elections fall under national security. And we know that our election systems were breached. Our data by the Chinese, even in Arizona, they were breached by the Iranian National Guard. So it's a very good thing that this Trump administration has taken our elections under the purview of national security, because that's exactly what they are. We are going to have Republicans like Lisa Murkowski, like Langford, like Tom Tillis, and others. There's a handful of them that are doing everything they can to stop Trump's agenda. And the SAVE Act is critical in order to secure our elections and ensure that Democrats no longer cheat. Because if it weren't for cheating, and if it were for voter ID, I wrote about this in California Globe not too long ago, the SAVE Act would actually flip Nevada to a Republican stronghold, meaning that the percentage points would go from like a -2 Republican to a +6 Republican. And that's simply by just implementing voter ID. And voter ID has now been... the Democrats are running away from voter ID like they're running away from angel moms. They absolutely do not want it. And the reason is because they know if there were verification procedures within our election system, they'd have a hard time winning another election.
Okay, so the president does a primetime speech. He releases this information. He says, all right, you can go to the White House website. You can pull down what we have declassified. You can take a look at it there. 220 million, apparently, voters were, or at least data on voters, was captured by the Chinese. I think the last time I saw, maybe you have a better number, I thought it was like 83% of Americans want the SAVE Act, and yet you got 5 Republicans who don't like Trump stopping it, and you got Thune getting mad at the White House press secretary for talking about it. What a mess.
Yeah, it's a total mess. We could mess up a one-car funeral.
Yeah.
And I've said that forever about the Republican Party. We have all the levers of power. We have the executive branch. We have the legislative branch. And James Langford is talking about a bill from 2 years ago that they passed. Well, there's a lot to be done. And, there's some things that could be done through J.D. Vance. He could fire the parliamentarian. We could eliminate the filibuster. There are a lot of tricks because the Democrats would do it, but the Republicans simply do not know how to play ball when they're literally given the entire playbook.
You mentioned it, the filibuster. It depends on who's in office if they like it or don't like it. What do you think about that thing?
I think there's it reminds me of the blue slip rule, right? So in order to get state attorneys sat, like for example, in Nevada, we have 2 Democratic senators because of the massive amounts of fraud on our rules. And Catherine Cortez Masto won by less than 8,000 votes in, I think it was 22 or 20. So, we look at these narrow wins, and they actually have the power through some sort of blue slip procedure, which is a Senate rule. It's not even part of the Constitution. It's like a made-up rule. They have to approve the U.S. attorneys. And if they don't approve the U.S. attorneys, some radical federal judge gets to appoint. That just happened up in Washington State. So there's a lot of rules that are what I would call gentleman's rules. Mm-hmm. That don't simply apply to constitutional procedure. So we've adopted all of these quote unquote rules just as kind of a historical measure when it's working against us. It's amazing to me, like I said, we have the levers of power. There are legislative tricks that we can use that the Democrats sure as hell will use if they ever get the levers of power once again. We've seen what they've done. We saw what they did under Biden. We saw what they did under Obama. They jammed Obamacare down our throats with not one Republican vote, and we still have a healthcare crisis. So we'll see what happens. But I really do not put a lot of stock into the current Senate leader, John Thune, or Republicans at large, quite frankly.
Okay, so you touched on that. So what's with Senator Thune? Why can't he pull this across the finish line?
Well, every time I see Senator Thune on TV, he's surrounded by what looks like just fossilized Republicans. There's no Brandon Gills standing behind him, which is the rising star of the Republican Party. He's always surrounded by like Lisa Murkowski, who's only in there because her dad appointed her and through ranked choice voting. So I think that Thune is of the old guard, and he would have been just as happy if Trump lost the election. I think they're truly happy being in the minority because they get to fight another day and get to campaign another day on all of these empty promises.
So, do you think the president is becoming more at odds with the sitting Republicans?
Oh, I think he's been at odds with the sitting Republicans for quite some time. He's not getting his agenda through, and they're going on another vacation.
Your thoughts for the midterm?
Oh, I think we're going to have a very difficult time. I mean, oil, I haven't checked the price of a barrel of oil this morning, but yesterday it spiked over $100.
Yeah, it's down about $4 today, but still in the 90s. Yeah.
No, I mean, we need to get that down to, $60, $50 a barrel. There needs to be things happening in order to alleviate some of the pressure, specifically coming out of California. So right now, there's still a cost of living issue, right? We still are paying, at least in Nevada, and we always pay a little bit more, but the price of a gallon of gas, and people really aren't feeling, I would say, the Trump effect. That the mass deportations will continue. He's working on all of the things that he could work on without Congress because he can't get anything done with a Republican Congress.
Interesting. Your thoughts on the fact that the president now has completely backed away from the MOU with Iran? It's full throttle militarily, with the threat of even the biggest one yet to occur, which now could be a retaliation, not necessarily against the United States from Iran, but directly to Israel. What you thinking?
I have always said you can never negotiate with terrorists, right? I mean, you just can't. We're dealing with a regime that is one of the most brutal regimes in modern history. For 47 years, they have been terrorizing not only the United States and Western civilization, but they've been terrorizing their people.
Mm-hmm.
When he said that he, dealt with the first round and they were crazy, and the second round of leaders and they were crazy, and the third round, they're all crazy. Okay, you're not going to deal with anybody from related to the Islamist regime and get a fair deal. So, you have to go in with hellfire, as far as I'm concerned, seize the oil and let them all work it out after, from the rubble.
Some are saying that the president now has tried everything he could diplomatically, can't get a deal. Nobody's come to the table. It's the same old stuff that you and I have talked about for a long time. You can't deal with terrorists, etc. So it could be that the president is not putting pressure on Iran to come to the table, but literally going for a regime change. You think that's a possibility now?
It's such a volatile area, and like I said, I'm only looking at the price of oil. The price of the barrel of oil.
No, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what people are looking at. I really don't care who's going to run Iran unless it is a pro-Western civilization, anti-Islamist regime person. I don't care if it's a woman. I don't care if it's a man. I'm glad to see that the UAE is behind us. I'm glad that, he has strengthened diplomatic ties specifically in that region and against Iran. It's great. But like I said, you're dealing with generations and generations of terrorists. And I don't know how else you negotiate with anybody associated with the old regime.
Okay, I want to swing your attention to your backyard, our backyard, California. Now that you are the executive editor of the California Globe.
Yeah.
There was an article early this morning. In fact, I was trying to find it here, but it's gone now, so I don't know. But something, and I'm going to just kind of briefly paraphrase it, that 150,000 ballots didn't get counted in California. I don't know if that's Southern California, but how messed up, from your perspective, is the voting files in California?
Oh, horrific. And let me just give you, I guess, an understanding of how badly Democrats, specifically in California, do not want voter ID. So there's a voter ID ballot initiative, which is Proposition 39, which over 1 million people signed the ballot initiative to get it on the ballot. Millions of dollars were spent for the signature gathering and to get it on the ballot. And Rob Bonta, who's as crooked as the day is long, he's the Attorney General. And he has the final say in how the ballot language is presented on the ballot to the voter. So for over a year, the language was such that it was very neutral, as by law it's supposed to be. And it simply said something like establishing additional voting or identification requirements to cast a ballot. Something like that. Establishing additional identification requirements. Very neutral. He changed the language to prohibits citizens from voting in elections unless having a government ID, something, unless. So he took what is neutral and made it a negative. And he did that on purpose. And he also did that in violation of state law. You cannot, according to California state law, use language on a ballot initiative that would coerce a voter, create a negative reaction from the voter. It's supposed to be very neutral language, like the first establish additional voting ID requirements. That prohibits citizens from voting in elections. That's the first 4 words or something. And he knows he can get away with that. He knows the Attorney General, the top cop in California, knowingly broke the law, and he knows he did, and he knows he can get away with it because no one's going to hold him accountable. He's got the judges in his back pocket. So the people behind the ballot initiative are going to have to spend hundreds of thousands of more dollars in order to take this to court. And it's basically a kangaroo court. The Democrats do not want voter ID. They do not want voter roll verification. And that should tell you everything you know about the, safety and security of U.S. or state elections. You aren't going to find a fair election in a blue state, especially California.
Wow. All right, let me take a quick break. Let me show our viewers and listeners. Check out Megan's website, where she's the executive editor there of the California Globe. There's a picture of that landing page, californiaglobe.com. There's a go-to resource, californiaglobe.com. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare. Your loved one can spend the day with us, and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Jerry's Historical Archives. Moments to remember. Go back in time. Back in the day. TV shows of the past. Relive the past and learn something new. Open up Jerry's Historical Archives. Weekdays only on Mornings on the Dove.
He's got the whole world in his hands, and he knows the plans for us. Above and beyond we could ask or imagine. His grace is more than enough. It's in his hands. It's in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Come on, Steve.
Okay, welcome back. Always a joy to have with us Megan Barth. Megan is the executive editor of the California Globe, and you can go to californiaglobe.com. She's on top of that and all of those states out there, including our backyard and this, I don't know, People's Republic to the south of us here a little bit, called California.
Yeah.
Hey, how's the governor's race going there in California?
Oh, it's funny. I was just talking to the campaign yesterday, and I asked them the same question to see if they had any internal polling and what it was showing. But, most of the polls are showing that it's in a dead heat. And that's typical for Nevada. We have very close elections. Some elections decided by as little as 10 votes, for example, in Clark County on the commission. It was a joke. But what I can say is that some of the polls that I've seen have oversampled Democrats and undersampled independents. And those are bad polls because when you look at the cross-section of voters in Nevada, Republicans and Democrats kind of fight for second place, and independents dominate. So if you're going to do a poll in Nevada, you have to have a dominant number of independents. Additional to that is that our Democratic Secretary of State refuses to turn over the voter rolls to the DOJ for cross-verification. Yet, just maybe a month or two ago, my story was featured on Fox News, I think it was. He axed, meaning cleaned or purged, as the Democrats like to say, 315,000 voters from our rolls. That represents 15% of the registered voters in Nevada. The Democrat Secretary of State simply purged them. The data showed that some of these voters were on the rolls for decades, which tells you that no one was cleaning the rolls.
Right.
That tens of thousands of voters were getting ballots that shouldn't have gotten ballots. And who knows who got those ballots, because we have the worst election laws because of Democrats in the United States. And I would challenge any other state to put theirs up to ours, and ours would always be the worst. We have unlimited ballot harvesting. Anybody can collect a ballot. Doesn't matter how many ballots. Universal mail-in balloting because of Democrats. No voter ID because of Democrats. No ID. Same-day voting. Same-day registration. It's an absolute Wild West show. But the fact that a Democratic Secretary of State purged 15% of our voting population off the rolls, it does give Republicans a better chance, like Joe Lombardo. Okay. So the election might not be as close.
And over in California, Steve Hilton, how's he doing?
Steve Hilton, I think, he has a chance, but again, when you're dealing with dirty voter rolls and no voter ID, and you've got, people living supposedly on empty lots, getting 10 ballots and getting paid to fill out ballots, like on Skid Row, the Democrats have a lock on the system, and it's by design. What used to be illegal in California, the Democrats made legal. So they basically took the fraud and legalized it.
Is the billionaire tax in California going anywhere?
Oh, I'm sure it will.
You think it'll pass?
I think it will.
Huh. Wow.
I think it will. And I might be wrong, and I hope I am wrong, but in a way, I kind of hope I'm not, because Nevada is really feeling the effects of that. California has lost $2 trillion of wealth since they just floated the billionaire tax. So people are running for the hills, and a lot of them are running to Nevada. There was over $1 billion in home sales in northern Nevada, just in one small enclave called Incline Village.
Yeah.
Over $1 billion.
We're seeing some of it here in Oregon, where they're moving their assets up here before. I guess there's a retroactive to that bill if it passes. So
yes.
Okay.
And what's interesting about that bill, Perry, if I just might add, there's also a tax on unrealized gains. How do you tax unrealized gains? What planet are these communists from,
So there's a poll out yesterday that shows AOC ahead of Newsom.
Okay, let's go.
So I want to say this respectfully, but is Gavin? I want to say this respectfully, but is Gavin having a bad day?
Oh God, he'll probably pick her for his running mate, or maybe Jasmine Crockett. I mean, it's just such a clown show. I mean, literally, I cannot. On the story that I wrote, it's on the landing page on how Rob Bonta changed the language on the ballot initiative for voter ID. I was reading some studies, and it's amazing what people study, right? And one was ballot language. And why ballot language is so important to be neutral is because, like I said, you don't want to influence voters. Specifically, voters that are low information voters can be easily influenced. Well, guess what? The amount of low information voters is increasing. So we're getting more and more low information voters instead of educated voters. And that's also a benefit for the likes of AOC or Jasmine Crockett or Aaron Ford in Nevada, or just name any Democrat.
So what's Governor Newsom up to these days? I mean, actually, he's not in the news a whole lot. I'm just wondering what's he plotting behind the scenes.
You know, he's going to run for it. I mean, what else is he going to do? He's been living off the taxpayer teat since he was like 18 years old. I mean, the guy has never run a lemonade stand. He's never signed a payroll check. He's never even balanced a budget. He's really good at spending money, and he's really good at picking the right barber, I guess. But, you know, he and his wife are under federal investigation.
Yeah.
That was released a few weeks ago. There's also some reports that an insider to the Newsoms has been wired for quite some time. And so that'll be interesting to see how that fleshes out. But Gavin Newsom is all about Gavin Newsom, and someone still can't explain to me how he and his wife bought a $9 million house when he makes a couple $100,000 a year. But there's billions of dollars missing.
Well, it's just interesting to me. He's leaving the state in a mess. Does the governor, the Democratic candidate for governor, what's his pitch?
The Democratic candidate for governor, that's going to replace Javier Becerra?
Yeah, excuse me.
Javier Becerra, yeah. His pitch is just basically to double down on what Newsom has done.
Really?
And that is spend money like a drunken sailor. He was just touting that people shouldn't go to the brick and mortar taco shops in the brick buildings. They should go to the taco carts and get a real taco. He literally said that. I'm not joking. I wish I was, but you know, this is the type of inanity that I'm dealing with covering California. I escaped California in 2015, and I sometimes say I didn't escape soon enough, but I did make it out in the nick of time. But you know, they are against. When you look at the Democratic Party, you've got the mayor of Los Angeles was a communist revolutionary under the Castro regime. That's where she trained. Then you have her opponent, who is a card-carrying socialist. So Javier Becerra, it falls into the same communist muck that the Democrat Party has become.
One other quick question, Megan, and it kind of fits in here. And I realize we get caught up in the politics and the personalities and all of that. You know, all of a sudden root canals are fun. But
yeah.
California is this close to bankruptcy. Do you think the citizens understand that?
No. Like I said, you have a growing number. I think a lot of them do. Okay. But here's the problem. You have a growing number of low information voters. And if you look at, for example, and I think this comes directly out of the school system and it's done on purpose. So someone has never been able to explain to me how if only 20% of high school students, including seniors, are literate in math and reading and writing, how do you have a 90% graduation rate? So high schools are graduating idiots.
Yeah.
And we are becoming like a nation, honestly, of idiots, and it works really well for the Democrats.
That's a great point. Great point. Good to see you.
Great to see you too, Perry.
Yeah, you, I don't know what you put on your cereal in the morning, but let me know. I want some of that.
Okay. I got it. Probably right here.
There it is. Okay. Check it out.
My jet fuel.
All right. CaliforniaGlobe.com is the website. CaliforniaGlobe.com. That's where Megan is the executive editor. Good to see you, friends. Stay in touch. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you.
In today's world, we've become too used to hearing bad news. Why not help share a little good news instead? With custom-designed messages in both English and Spanish, manufactured right here in the USA. Wearing apparel from Good News Products is a small but mighty way to help lift the spirits of friends, family, coworkers, and more. Visit goodnewsproductsusa.com today. Use the QR code and take 15% off your first order. Good News Products, because everybody loves good news.
There may have never been another time in history when end times prophecy has been more aligned with the culture and circumstances of the world than it is today. I believe there are 10 phenomena we are witnessing today that were recorded centuries ago in Bible prophecy.
Join Dr. David Jeremiah in his series, Where Do We Go From Here? On the next episode of Turning Point, right here on this station.
Weekends on the Dove TV. Do events in the world leave you confused and scratching your head? A world where up is down and down is up.
I'm Perry Atkinson. Mornings on the Dove knows how you feel. We're here to offer God's hope and encouragement and to help you to sort it all out.
And I'm Jerry Bilden. Mornings on the Dove alerts you to issues and events the mainstream media would rather you not know or know the truth.
A lot in the news today, some movement around in the Middle East, common sense discussions on today's headlines, and rational perspective on what's really going on.
That will leave you better informed and encouraged by the gospel.
In this upside-down world, there's one place you can trust to get it straight.
Check into Mornings on the Dove each day to find out what's really going on and to be encouraged.
Mornings on the Dove, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. on the Dove TV and radio. Streaming online at thedove.us, Roku, and Apple TV. The Dove, encouraging and informative.
Welcome back. I'm always delighted and honored when we sit down with a friend and a public servant that I have high regard for. Bruce Starr's with us, Oregon businessman, longtime public servant, and currently serves as the Oregon Senate Republican leader. He represents Senate District 12, and he's in our area. Came down to get some fresh air.
I don't know about the fresh air.
Good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I drive into the valley yesterday. It's 100 degrees as we come into the Rogue Valley here.
Boy, so much to talk to you about. We're heading into some big deals. I guess, let me just kind of back up a little bit. You have been in public service for a long time. You and your dad, I knew your dad very well. What a lovely guy. I miss him. I'm sure you do too. How much since you've been in public service to today do you think our state has changed?
It's changed. It's changed a lot. There's no question about that. The process in the Capitol has changed significantly. Technology has really made a huge difference. Mm-hmm. The rise of social media has made a big difference in how messages are communicated today than how they used to be. You know what the one constant though is in the inside the Capitol, in that legislative process? Relationships still matter.
Yeah.
Relationships still matter.
Okay. You're heading into a really competitive season, and we have a chance to get the governorship. I know you've been working very hard on that. How's it looking?
Well, I think for the first time in 40 years that we have an opportunity to elect a Republican governor. I look at Christine Drazen's campaign, the fact that this is her second time, I think it's a benefit. She's way better as a candidate today than she was in the first campaign, not to say she wasn't good before. There's not a third-party independent candidate in this race that's going to draw votes from the conservative side and money. And so I think that makes a big difference. The key, though, really, is that we're running against an incumbent Democrat governor who can't point to anything that is better today than when that incumbent governor took office. Virtually everything that we measure in this state, and I mean, you can look and try to prove me wrong, but I don't believe you can. Everything that we measure, we're on the wrong end of the measurement. If you want to be number 1 or 2, we're down at the bottom. You know, we're 47, 48, 49, 50, somewhere in there. If you want to be at the bottom, we're at the top. And And that's the reality of this campaign, is that you have an incumbent governor who has failed in governing and leading our state.
One of the great pushbacks was the citizens' referendum on this tax, the gas tax,
sure,
all that.
Yeah.
It was huge.
No.
And I know you led the way on that,
right,
but it was huge. I mean, do you think the average Oregonian understands it started off to be $5-something trillion to fix a $350 million problem that got whittled down to $2.3 billion, I say billion, not trillion, billion.
Right.
And the citizens rose up and said no.
Right.
Do you think that's got sticking power to it?
So,
I mean, when I looked at all 36 counties,
yeah,
that was red in all 36 counties.
Absolutely. I mean, it failed 3-1 in Multnomah County. So it failed everywhere. So does it have sticking power? The Democrats, during our short session this year, the 35-day session, the number one thing that they had to get done in their mind was to change that election, the referendum vote, from the general election in November, which is when it was supposed to occur, based on, the petitions that over 250,000 Oregonians signed. Their number one objective was to get that election off the November ballot and put it on the May ballot, so that it, get it in the rearview mirror. And their hope is that Oregonians will forget. So, can we remind them? The answer is, I hope so. I hope so. That's our goal, to ensure that Oregonians remember that it was the supermajority Democrats and the governor who tried to ram through a massive tax on a purely partisan vote. So.
It was announced yesterday that she may have an independent. The Oregon Green Party has got a candidate now that's going to be on the ballot, a guy by the name of Brent Smith. That's got to pull from her, wouldn't it? Yeah,
you would think so. You would think so. Again, this is a governor that in her primary, she didn't have a serious primary. I think she had other folks on the ballot, but a number of what you would call the traditional Democratic supporter organizations did not endorse her. The teachers union, for instance, did not endorse her.
What does that tell you?
Well, it just says that they're not happy with her performance. And okay, well, that's great. At the end of the day, are they going to come home to support the Democrat nominee over a Republican? Most likely, of course. But it does demonstrate that she's not well liked. Again, the polling data is clear. Her favorability in our state is lower than Donald Trump's favorability in our state. Now, we recognize that Donald Trump's not popular here. Well, she's less popular than our current president is.
All right, so Senator, what is it? What is it the citizens are saying that she would come in that low?
Well, again, you look at the results on education. How is it that we can't teach third graders to read?
Yeah.
I mean, we've taught kids to read for hundreds of years. It's not like it's rocket science, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're failing. We're at 47, 48 in third grade reading and math in the nation. If you're a mom and dad with kids in school and you're looking at that and you're saying, okay, who's responsible for our state? I mean, that could be a reason why this governor is not very popular. You look at the results of her trying to fix the housing problem. Again, she hasn't delivered. You look at our homelessness and addiction issues, has not delivered. In our major metropolitans, we have too many Oregonians that are living in addiction on the street, and this housing first model is not working.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a governor who isn't leading, and that's why I think Oregonians are looking around and saying, "My goodness gracious, we live in one of the most amazing places in all the world."
Mm-hmm.
And in your neck of the woods, it's you see that every day. You walk out your front door, and yet everything that we measure is going in the wrong direction. I think Oregonians are at a point that says, you know what? I think it's time that we maybe elect a different kind of leader.
So a little bit of a hypothetical, but I kind of get a feel for it. Okay, let's assume Christine becomes governor. Okay, do you have a chance of picking up more seats in the Senate where you can help her?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's we're all in on having Christine win the governor's race, and we're all in bringing more Republicans to the Oregon Senate, and I believe the Oregon House as well. But obviously, I'm focused on the Senate.
Right.
The ability of a governor to move an agenda if she only has a super minority of Republicans in the legislature, is extraordinarily difficult. Obviously, right? That's an obvious.
But she would have the veto pen.
She would. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Plus all of the appointing responsibility that she would have. But we are going to pick up seats.
Good.
I believe in this election cycle. I believe one right here in Southern Oregon.
Right.
But there's other opportunities in around the state as well. We do that. The ability really to change the direction our state of Oregon is real. And it is exciting to be in a position where we can turn the tide. We can say, you know what? We're not going to fail children in our state anymore. We're going to empower moms and dads so that they have more options about how they educate their children. We're not going to let the addicted continue to live in their addiction on the streets. We're going to deal with that in a proper fashion. We're going to provide the tools to local communities so they can get the homeless camps off the street and out of our public right-of-ways. Those are things that we can do. And all it takes, Perry, is a change in leadership.
All right, one big question before I take a break. You're sitting over there in the Senate, and you're obviously working hard to get Christine across the line and get some new senators in the Senate. How would you prioritize what would be your agenda priority going into, let's say you win? What's your agenda?
Well, I mean, it's to some degree, it's like, where do you start? But I brought it up already. I think education. I can't imagine how we are so failing our children. And again, it's not like it's rocket science. We know how to teach children. We just haven't been doing it. So that's part of it. I think we have to address our tax system that discourages investment. I mean, we are losing. We're losing businesses running out of state, but we're also losing entrepreneurs. We're losing the investors. That capital, as you know, is fluid. It can go pretty much anywhere in the world. It's not coming to Oregon, and there's a reason why that is. And you've got to have that in order to have an economy, in order to have reward entrepreneurs and to grow our economy. I look forward to a time when we have people from all over the country who are flocking to Oregon because we're business friendly, because it's a place that we can invest, rather than having Oregonians say, well, I have to leave Oregon in order to go find opportunities somewhere else.
Let me take a quick break. Honored to have with us Senator Bruce Starr in the House, and he heads up the Republican Senate, the Republican senators there in the state of Oregon. There's the website, and that's the OregonLegislature.gov/STARR, STARR. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests, or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon.
Friday.
Here, chicky.
Farmer Ash gets her hands dirty
I'm gonna tag a cat.
with a couple who lives off the land.
So the poo has all the good stuff.
It's got all the good stuff.
Is following the call of God
I could leave that because I know God's got me.
and is planting seeds for the future.
I definitely felt like the Holy Spirit just here.
Friday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back, and what an honor and a delight to have in the studio with us today Senator Bruce Starr. He is also the leading Republican in the Oregon Senate, and he's on a campaign tour, I guess. You're moving around the state. He also represents District 12 up in the northern part of the state. Good to have you, Senator, and honored to do so. Thanks for
great to be here.
Not taking a summer vacation, but out.
Hey, you know what? I'm all in on fighting for this state. We can turn our state around. It's just it takes work, it takes effort, and I'm all in on it.
You commented earlier on the business climate. There's this threat we could lose some of our star businesses if we don't make business more friendly.
We have already.
And regulations is an issue. Taxation is an issue. Capital gains is an issue. Inheritance is an issue. Can those things actually be addressed?
Yeah, there's no doubt they can. It requires leadership. It requires people with vision. It requires an understanding that by creating a business-friendly environment, you're not necessarily going, and this is the thing that drives me crazy in the Capitol, the Democrat, the other side of the aisle, when they see more money being left in the pockets of Oregonians or Oregon business, they say, well, that costs us. It costs government.
Really?
You know, you're taking money away from government.
Wow.
It's just a wrong perspective on how they ought to view things. And the reality is, what ultimately will happen is you grow an economy. You enlarge the size of the pie. They think the pie was just going to remain the same, when if all we need to do is we can grow the size of the pie, and continue to provide the services that are necessary. There's no doubt that we have Oregonians that need a variety of things. Government costs money. Human services and corrections and all those things cost money, but we can grow the size of the pie and fix those issues, but at the same time have an economy that works, have an economy that rewards business investment, that doesn't chase people out of our state like we have so far.
More jobs.
More jobs.
I mean, it's pretty simple.
You look at what has happened, since Donald Trump became president, and he's worked hard to bring manufacturing back to America, right? And to a large degree, he's been very successful at that, except in Oregon. There's not manufacturing coming back to our state, and there's a reason why that is. We changed the leadership in our state, and we can bring that kind of investment to Oregon. Intel Corporation, mostly in Washington County, historically has invested billions of dollars in R&D and fabs up in the Hillsborough area. They're not building those today in Oregon. They're building them in Ohio. They're building them in Arizona. There's a reason why that investment's not coming to our state like it used to. And so we can change that.
Well, I was in a meeting just the other day. Southern Oregon's infrastructure is prime for new businesses. I mean, we have the infrastructure.
Yeah.
We have the power, we have the data, we have the fiber. It's here.
Yeah.
We can't attract anybody.
Yeah. It's our regulatory environment. We're a high tax, high regulation state. And those businesses that are looking to expand, to grow, to locate, they're getting wooed by, Texas and Arizona and Nashville, Idaho. I don't know if you've been in the Treasure Valley of Idaho recently, but they are seeing literally billions of dollars of investment. And what does Idaho have that Oregon doesn't have? Oh, I'm sorry, they have lower taxes and regulatory certainty that we don't have in our state.
So what come of the governor's pro-business task force she put together?
Yeah.
What are they doing?
So her Prosperity Council.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So they came out with a series of recommendations, all of which are bills, except for one, all of which are bills primarily that Republicans have introduced over the last decade.
Lower taxes,
lower regulation. Oh, and let's look at our land use system. Yeah. So the land use system, has been in effect since '73 when Senate Bill 100 passed. That's over 50 years. I think it's time. And the Prosperity Council basically said, hey, it's time to review how does our land use system work or doesn't work, and maybe it's time to do some tweaks. So yeah, I think it's an opportunity for a great bipartisan opportunity for Republicans and Democrats to work together to advance the Prosperity Council agenda. Will I see my colleagues on the other side of the aisle actually link arms with Republicans and cut taxes and regulations and take a fresh look at Oregon land use law? I highly doubt it.
In talking to Christine on many occasions, Drazen, who hopefully will be the next governor, she mentioned one of the powers that she has is these agency directors. Yep. And she made all these lists of people they're going to go. How important would that be, and what impact would that have?
So it's extraordinarily important. I mean, we have 40 years of one-party rule in our state, so 40 years of Democrats putting their people in places in all of these state agencies. The opportunity to appoint basically a fresh new look in state government at the executive branch level is huge. Bringing in a culture shift, huge. Not only agency directors, but every board and commission that helps to advise those state agencies. I mean, there's literally thousands of positions that she will have the opportunity to put into place with, most of them, a lot of them require Senate confirmation. But that is a tremendous opportunity to really change the face of state government, whether something happens in the legislature or not.
I have a couple of pet peeves.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Imagine that.
One, why can't we do like a Prop 13 in Oregon that California has, where we freeze the property taxes for seniors so they're not taxed out of their home?
Yeah. So again, it's a common sense idea. It's been introduced. I've introduced it. Others legislators have. It costs. This goes back to the mentality from the majority party. It costs government money because for however many.
You want me to cry you a river now, or what?
Yeah, exactly. however many millions of dollars it is. Honestly, it's not that much money in the big scheme of things. But if it's $10 million, they're going to say, oh my gosh, you're going to take $10 million away from me, the government, to spend on however we want. You're going to leave $10 million, again, I'm making that number up, but whatever amount in the pockets of seniors in our state. They should have the ability to continue to live in their homes without this, continue to see massive tax increases.
We watch Prop 13 California with all of its problems, but that one issue was huge.
Sure.
Especially on people where their values of their homes went up.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah, we can do that. It's just, again, it takes leadership and folks who are willing to get it done.
All right, I want to come back to education.
Yeah.
As you well know, you've been there, Jason, been there. You guys been on the floor fighting this. Why? We have some of the lowest scores in the nation.
Yep.
And yet it is the one issue that it's always held to the end of the legislative term to pass a lot of money, and yet the ROI is almost zero. What can we do to fix that?
So one of the things that we should do is we should hold school districts accountable to the results that they're getting for their children. We should not move children up the next grade if they're not meeting benchmarks. Now, during COVID, the legislature basically eliminated graduation requirements, standards to graduate. And so, because of the, unique circumstances there. Unfortunately, they haven't reinstated those standards. And so that is a real problem. There are opportunities. I mean, so if you're in third grade and by the time you complete third grade, you can't read, there needs to be an intensive effort to bring that child to the point that child can read before they move to the fourth grade. That's the kind of intensive work that has to happen, and we have to hold local school districts accountable. Part of the challenge we have, and this is controversial, and so I'm not saying I'm absolutely supportive of it or not, is we have 197 school districts that each negotiate with their local teachers on an individual by individual basis, and God bless our school boards, but they are sitting across the table from a professional labor negotiator, and our school board members are volunteers.
Right.
And let's just say they're outgunned to a certain extent. And so there's some folks that are advocating a statewide salary schedule so that negotiation is done and it basically covers the entire state. It's controversial, I get that, but I think we need to look at things that are a little bit different than the way we've been doing it in the past, because what happens is those local school boards, they negotiate a deal. They should know that they really don't have the resources to accomplish what they've negotiated. So then they come to the legislature and say, hey, if you don't give us more money, we're going to have to cut. We're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do that. And so that is part of a problem that we have to solve.
Is it just a pipe dream that school choice and vouchers would ever see the light of day here?
So I don't think so. Again, it requires leadership, and it requires legislators who are willing to say, you know what, this is successful in other states. Back in 1993, I wrote the first charter school bill that was introduced in the state of Oregon. It took 4 sessions before it was actually the bill. Charter schools became law in Oregon, and charter schools are a solution, an option. But over the course of years after we had charter schools introduced, guess what? The unions have kind of chipped away at our charter school law to make it less effective. So we can bolster that. I think we need to bolster our parents who want to homeschool their children. We can provide tax credits for private schools and parochial schools. There are hosts of options that we ought to do. Give moms and dads, let's empower them to do what's best for their children.
You don't hear it in the news much, but it's still a headache. PERS.
It is.
How serious is it?
So it's serious. It's a round number, a quarter of the public budgets are going to PERS. So that is a real problem. It's maybe a little bit less than that, but it's a big number, and it's going to continue to be a big number until the Tier 1 PERS retirees go off and ultimately pass away. It's a blunt way to say it, I guess, but that's the reality, because you have this huge number of Tier 1 who are.
What age are they now? Do you know?
You're going to ask me a question that I don't.
Okay.
I honestly am not 100% sure.
But you have Tier 1 and you at 2.
Yeah, and so then.
Are you going to go to 3?
Yeah, so there is a third. It's OPSRP now, and that was so it's taken time there's this huge number of individuals that have to work their way through that system before the PERS rates are going to come down.
Before I run out of time, one more recap. We're real close. You're working hard. You're going to pick up some seats in the Senate. How close are you? How many do you need?
So we're at 12. So we're in the super minority. We have 12 out of 30 right now. I believe that with the pickup here in Southern Oregon, that we'll get to 13. So that gets us out of the super minority. So that's good. That means that the Democrats can't just run over us.
I got to go. You're done. I will run out of time. Thanks.
Hey.
Gosh, I wasn't paying attention. Okay.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Being in business is challenging. At Network in Action Southern Oregon, we're all about real connection and real growth. We value your time with once-a-month meetings and believe in transformational relationships rather than transactional ones.